$80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Nitto, Cooper, Nexen, or Sumitomo brand tires with installation purchase. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation required. Disposal fees and shop fees extra were permitted. See store for pricing. Eligibility may vary. Not valid with other offers.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered Player Performance Studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now, the more you buy, the more you save on beds, bases, and more. Limited time. For JD Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at the Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson. Online at SactownSports.com or on the app. Kings, Niners, and Sacramento. The Matt and Kayla Show starts now.
You know, I walked into the beautiful Bonneville, Sacramento building, feeling refreshed after a 3-day weekend, and then one conversation with Carmichael Dave before you're supposed to go on the air about whatever's in that man's head, and I'm completely thrown off.
Derailed.
And no, we can't bring it to the air.
No.
Trust me, we're doing you a favor. It's just random thoughts with Carmichael Dave, which could be I grew up listening to Carmichael Dave's night show, and that's all his night show was, were just
random
these
thoughts.
Things that he would say that would get him canceled today, that I shouldn't have been listening to as a kid, but hey, he's partially responsible for me being here. But we're happy to be here after a 3-day weekend, rested, rejuvenated, full of plenty of sports things to talk about. Kayla, you said you had to peel yourself away from the TV a little bit because there's just so much sports going on.
I feel like the last 2 weekends in particular. And then obviously you mix in throughout the week where we've got Kings games and, you know, you're glued to the TV in those too. Sometimes we have to make ourselves glued to the TV. But regardless, it's our job. We have to watch games. Yeah, so boo-hoo, you know, nobody's crying for me. But I do have to, for my mental health, check out sometimes when it's like this crazy of a weekend because I'm sitting in front of the TV for how many hours straight, may get up to walk the dog at halftime or whatever it might be. So I did last night. I probably shouldn't have stayed up as late as I did, but I said, I need to just make my brain have a clearing. So I turned on Traders and I got through, I think, like 2 episodes. It's this season.
Oh boy, just wait till episode 3.
Oh, really?
I haven't started it yet. I haven't started it. No spoilers.
So no spoilers.
I have not started. I love Traders, though.
Once you watch episode 3, see if you know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
I don't think I don't know if Kyle's being serious or not. But yes, Traders is a wonderful show. If you have not seen it, there will be a lot of Traders talk on this program once I actually do start watching it, because it's probably my favorite reality TV show that is out there right now. But I spent, I have to come clean. I did not watch a couple of our wonderful NFL playoff games this weekend live. I had to catch up and watch them later because I did what all irresponsible adults would do. I went and watched the extended editions of Lord of the Rings in theater because, keep that to yourself, Kyle, because it was the 25th anniversary, so Friday was Friday was Fellowship. Didn't get out to see that because there was a Kings game that night. Saturday went and saw Two Towers in theaters. Sunday went and saw the Return of the King in theaters, and I think both those movies in total airtime was a little over 8.5 hours.
Okay, that's insanity.
4.5 hours for Return of the King and just over 4 hours for Two Towers.
So how many...
No intermission.
Things.
Straight
Yeah. What do you go in terms of popcorn? Do you go to the bathroom? Like, do you have a Gatorade bottle? Like,
well, see,
what are we doing in terms of
when you've mastered the Lord of the Rings like I have, you know the good pockets of like downtime to go out and use the restroom if you need to. But if you actually buy the extended editions and watch the extended editions at home, there are 2 discs, so they literally built in an intermission for you. But that wasn't the case at the movie theater. We had to watch all the way through, but it was phenomenal. Great experience. People, if you don't know how much I love the Lord of the Rings, you should understand. I have it tattooed all the way up my arm. But I'd never seen it in theaters before because when I was a kid is when it came out in theaters. So I've seen it at home a billion times at friends' houses. Saw it with a live orchestra in San Francisco. But seeing it in theaters was a pretty magical experience. So then I ran home. I was like, okay, I got to watch these football games. I got to catch up and avoid Twitter as much as possible. So I even missed a Kings game on Sunday. I didn't go to the Kings game.
Yeah, I thought that. I was like, I don't know if he went to the Kings game because I saw you did the podcast from home that night.
Yep.
But you know what? You go to like every single game. So once in a while, it's okay to actually watch it from your seat.
I took a night. The Kings lost, so
you're not responsible
for the tank. I must stay home. I think that's what we're talking about. We'll dive into, of course, Sacramento Kings talk today as the Kings got their win streak to 4 in a row. They beat the Wizards, and then they lost to the Portland Trailblazers. We're going to talk about the future of Domantas Sabonis in Sacramento because I think that's a very interesting talking point. And when the Kings are in action again this evening, they have the Miami Heat in town tonight, and it's going to be interesting to see if Domantas Sabonis starts. He's come off the bench these first 2 games. All this conversation we're getting into, but there's no way we're starting anywhere else but with this NFL playoff action. And Kayla, now I'm just going to turn it over to you. Your victory lap, whatever you want to do. Your Seattle Seahawks are not just headed to the NFC Championship game. They beat the living you-know-what out of the San Francisco 49ers. We talked all week about this is going to be the game of the weekend, and it was the biggest stinker of the weekend, unless you're a Seahawks fan.
I know, and I will say this, though. I like competitive games.
Yep.
And especially at this point when you're talking about the divisional round of the playoffs. And I think what was the setting point for the entire game was how Rashid Shaheed came out with that return.
Yep.
And I really think it set the tone inside the stadium with the fans, which, by the way, there was a small group of 49er fans, but it looks
Seahawks.
Like it was back to what
it
used to be when you had the Legion of Boom type of crowds. And so it's just, for 49ers fans, I think it was unfortunate that set the tone. And I just really don't think there was a recovery moment from the start. I mean, there was pockets where you could see them possibly being, able to get back in the game, but they ran the ball and, they didn't have Sam Darnold do too much. And when he needed to do things, I'll give him credit because I give him a lot of negative talk in terms of what I think about him as a quarterback. He did enough, and he did what he was supposed to do when he had the ball. But I still am not 100% sold on Sam Darnold yet because he hasn't really had to do too much. Unfortunately, the Niners, just with the injuries and the situation without having George Kittle, there were some drops. It wasn't a good day.
Our good friend from KCRA3, Sean Cunningham, was out in Seattle covering this game. He's going to join us at 1:05 today to talk about what the atmosphere was like out there in Seattle. Plus, he'll talk a little bit of Kings with us as well. So we're looking forward to having Sean on this show for the first time. And this is the first episode of the second week. We made it to another week here on Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports. So very excited about that. But look, I have the utmost respect for Kyle Shanahan as a head coach. I think he's a tremendous head coach, and there's no way, shape, or form the Niners would have even gotten this far without him. And there's, I saw, like, the general reaction that I saw from Niners fans on social media after that game was, well, that was a real bummer, but what a fun season. What a great ride. We shouldn't have been here. Kind of a crazy year. Shout out to the Niners for making it fun. We'll regroup and see what next year brings. And we're going to transition the conversation into the future for the 49ers eventually and what is next for them. But there's always a but. I think Kyle Shanahan has to wear a little bit of how that game started. When you get blitzed that bad, like this game was almost over 30 seconds in because it wasn't just the kickoff return.
Right.
The Niners got the ball back. Brock Purdy almost what initially looked like a fumble recovered for a Seahawks touchdown. The Niners were almost down 14-0 like 30 seconds into the game. Yeah. And they were against the ropes, standing 8 count from the jump. This entire game, they were just completely frazzled, completely out of it. When you start that poorly, when you were not locked in and the Seahawks were clearly locked in and ready to go, coaching has to wear an element of that. And it's not like, oh, it's Kyle Shanahan's fault or anything like that. But if we're going to praise Kyle for how he's gotten this team ready and gotten them through it, they were hit by a haymaker literally immediately, and he has to wear that team not being ready to go when they needed to be.
It's a good point by you, especially when you go face somebody that you've already faced this year, 2 times?
Yeah.
And then you know what you're going to pretty much get. You're going to get everything that Seattle is going to throw at you. And you're right. Even with it starting out like that with the return, it's almost like, okay, this is Shanahan. He's been doing it all season where they can regroup, but it's almost like the threads just started to really come apart right away. And you're right. And you've talked about before, I think you mentioned it, and maybe some of the chatters have mentioned it, like in-game adjustments from Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs haven't been great. And you wonder with this situation, and by the way, there was 3 turnovers by the 49ers in this one. It just seems like it didn't get captured up by him at the right time, and he kind of just let it all fray. And you're exactly right. It's hard to say that he didn't do a great job this year. I think like the sand was just out though. Yeah. Like it was at this point where it just kind of like there was nothing left you could really get from this team. Especially with that start. I'm not going to put it all on Shanahan, but yeah, if we expect him to continue to do that, it's got to happen in the playoffs too.
Right.
And it just doesn't seem like he was able to carry that out.
And when you have a start like that, at that point, you're expecting your defense, which is already your weakness, to essentially have to play perfect football for the rest of the game. Right? Like I think the Niners went down 17-0, if I'm not mistaken. And at that point, it's like, it was late in the first quarter. It's like the Seahawks might not, like they can't score for the rest of the game for the Niners to have a chance. Turns out, even if they didn't score the rest of the game, it wouldn't have mattered because the Niners only scored 6 points. And we'll have a conversation about Brock Purdy in a second. But I wanted to chat a little bit about Sam Darnold, because after the game, Brock and Sam meet up. Brock was mic'd up and said, man, you guys are going to go and win it all. And you've had your reservations or your concerns about Sam Darnold. And his team won 41-6, don't get me wrong. But they had this game won before he even touched the football. And he only throws 17 passes, completes 12 of them, throws for 124 yards, didn't throw any interceptions or anything like that. So he did his job, I guess, taking care of the football and not making any mistakes. But I still don't feel like this was a real test for Sam Darnold, because his team, and then, of course, the great play of like Kenneth Walker III, they all carried the load for him. So oblique injury, Sam barely had to get any work in.
And when he was sacked, which was 2 times for 18 yards, you did see him kind of grimace when he got up with the oblique situation. And I know they're going to monitor that coming into this week. But you're right. Kenneth Walker, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns for Kenneth Walker. He was an absolute beast. And remember, Zach Charbonnet went out. By the way, he's out for the season. It'll be interesting how they maneuver moving forward with not a 2-back kind of system that has really worked for them this year when they have been able to get the run game going. Because when you are a defense of an opposing team, now things kind of shift a little, because you can really focus in on, okay, Kenneth Walker is going to be the guy running the rock. If we can shut him down and isolate him and try to really then put the pressure on Sam Darnold, he has not proven himself yet in the playoffs. So that's still a focus, Matt. To your point, it's still a focus in this next game against the Rams, who know the Seattle Seahawks very well. And they do have a pass rush. And so you do have to be a little bit worried about this matchup, because the Niners don't have a pass rush. Sam Darnold didn't have to do, like you said, anything really to worry about that. Well, this is different this weekend with the Rams coming into town.
And we're going to get into the Rams and Bears game, because that was a crazy finish. Caleb Williams, one of the greatest throws I've ever seen, period. It's almost unfair that the Bears lost that game after that throw that he made, but Caleb also has to wear a lot of the reasons for why they lost that game. Plus, Matt Stafford didn't again, we'll get into this, but Matt Stafford made some pretty incredible throws himself, too, that he deserves recognition for. But, I mean, going back to the Seahawks game, they put up 41 points. Jackson Smith and Jigba only had to catch 3 passes. One of them was a touchdown, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, Cooper Kupp was rolling. He had 5
was.
receptions for 60 yards. The Rams are very familiar with one Cooper Kupp, so that's going to be interesting to see. But, yeah, the ground game for Seattle completely dominated the Niners. And then, like, once again, I don't want to turn this into too much of an anti-Purdy thing because I don't think that's fair necessarily with how this game started and how bad it was. But when you get your face kicked in essentially on the first play of the game and you need to settle in, that's where you need your franchise quarterback to, hey, let me lead you down the field. Let's get minimum 3 points. Maybe we can get 7, erase that start, reset the game. And Purdy was never really able to take the reins and take control of that game. And again, the Niners are paying him to do that. 15 of 27, 140 yards, averaged like 5 yards a pass. To be fair, the Seahawks defense is, we know what the Seahawks defense is, 1 interception. The Niners didn't get into the end zone once in this game. Even if you erase that terrible start, like the Niners didn't do nearly enough offensively to win this game, and that's been kind of a common theme through these last couple weeks. With the exception of that one really good drive at the end of the Eagles game, I didn't feel like the offense did their job in Philadelphia. The defense kept them in it and gave them that chance. The offense didn't do any of their job in Week 18. Really, since that Bears game in Week 17, Purdy and the Niners offense has let the team down. And again, it wouldn't have made much of a difference in this game, but you had a chance to at least settle things down, and you never took that chance.
You know, we've seen when they've been the best, at their best in terms of the offense this year, they've been able to get out to a good start. They've been able to control time of possession from the jump, which is something that Kyle Shanahan is obviously obsessed with. That was, again, why we go back to how this game started. It's like they pretty much put themselves in a hole so quickly in this one in terms of the Niners that there was no chance for them to even, well, there was a chance, but Brock Purdy and company did not take advantage of that, being able to respond quickly to the Shaheed return.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I hate to say that this is a big piece of the puzzle, but it is. It comes back to George Kittle and the safety blanket and having that guy on the offensive side out there for Purdy. I do feel like that is kind of Purdy's guy that he can start to get in a groove with from the jump. George Kittle not being there, he didn't really have that. Like, look, Ricky Pearsall was not that good. He's been injured so much this season. I don't think there's any connection clearly yet between Purdy and him. So that's kind of something we'll see, hopefully we'll build in the future. But not having that safety blanket of Kittle, I think really did, Purdy some injustice.
Well, I hear exactly what you're saying, and you're right. And look, every quarterback needs targets to throw to. You can't throw and catch the ball himself, and you need to find those established targets that you have the most comfort with. But what you just said fuels the fire to the commentary around Brock Purdy his entire career, which is he's only as good as the weapons that are around him, right? How would he look without George Kittle? How would he look without Christian McCaffrey? He might not have George Kittle ever again. Like, we don't know when George is coming back. We don't really know if George is going to continue to be a San Francisco 49er. And Purdy already gets a lot of the flack of, well, you're a system quarterback in Kyle Shanahan's system, right? So you paid Purdy like a franchise guy. You paid Purdy like you need him to step up in these moments and try and make something happen. And it wasn't a great weekend for franchise quarterbacks. We'll talk about Josh Allen and how he performed in just a little bit. CJ Stroud, yikes.
Oof.
But, like, those are the moments where that's why Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have been so dominant, is because it's the saying is don't give Patrick Mahomes the ball in this scenario because he'll deliver. And the Niners didn't need Purdy to deliver a game-winning drive after that opening kickoff touchdown, but they needed him to reset things, calm things down, retake control of the game. And he and the Niners were never able to do it. So they're just staggered and bleeding basically the entire game.
And that's why we can't yet go. I'm not going to speak for you, sorry. I can't yet go there to the place where Brock Purdy is up there with elite quarterbacks.
Sure. I'm with you.
I'm sorry, and I really like Brock Purdy. I think he's a good quarterback. But he has also had the help in the past of the defense.
Yeah.
And, this is where there was a lot more on his shoulders. And it was like, hey, Brock, you've kind of got to be the one that now sparks the offense. You don't have Kittle in there. Yes, you have McCaffrey, but McCaffrey's doing so much other stuff. Like, you just got to be the guy that galvanizes this offense and that can help us, win this game because of the offense, because the defense is just not going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we're now at the, kind of conversation again where Brock Purdy is probably not ready yet for that kind of weight on his shoulders.
I mean,
and it's hard for any quarterback, I should say,
100%,
to be like
100%
doing that in the playoffs.
That's part of the job, though. So we'll see what Purdy and what's next for the Niners. Again, we'll jump into that conversation more, and we're going to get deep into that conversation in the coming weeks as we enter into this offseason. The draft gets closer. What does Shanahan and the Niners do? Do they prioritize offensive line? Do they prioritize receivers? Like, what do the Niners try to do, and how do they look at these injuries that they suffered this year, and who can they look at that was hurt and go, you're reliable going forward and you're not reliable going forward? Because there's some pretty catastrophic injuries to some incredibly important players on this roster that the Niners have some decisions to make, and they have to be brutally honest with themselves and with their players. That's all conversation coming up later in the show and in the coming weeks. But for the Seattle Seahawks, like, now a ton of pressure is on them, because if there is a golden road to a Super Bowl championship, it's right there for the Seahawks. Like, they should be the favorite, especially with what happened. Like, I know they got to get through the Rams. I think this NFC championship game is for the Super Bowl, essentially. I think the winner of this game is winning the Super Bowl. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but let's talk about the Rams and that Bears game, because, again, the way that game ended, that throw by Caleb Williams, dropping back, I think Dave said like 23 yards.
It was crazy.
A 23 to 27 yard drop back off the back foot, off balance, and a perfect throw that's weighted over the line of the defense that, like, everyone's like, why was Komet so wide open? Why was he so wide open? Because you saw that throw and thought, this is going to be short, so I'm going to move in to try and get that ball. And it just kept floating. Right into the end. Like, it was just one of the most insane throws I've ever seen. And I wish I was in the Golden One Center, because apparently in the middle of the game, with every single suite watching that, you heard the entire crowd react to that touchdown throw instead of the basketball game that was in front of them. Seriously, one of the craziest throws I've ever seen.
Caleb Williams is going to be so interesting to watch moving forward. Coming out of USC, he's pegged a generational talent. I have my reservations about him, that they've changed a little bit from what I've seen with Ben Johnson and him. And again, we go back to getting the right either offensive-minded head coach or offensive coordinator who can work with the quarterback, the young quarterback, to really continue to develop them. They're not fully developed coming out of college. Even the generational talents like Caleb Williams. We saw it when he first got there with Matt Nagy. There was no development in that year with Matt Nagy.
If that's their ceiling, they're in trouble. Even if they're the number one pick, they're in trouble. They have to grow.
They have to grow. And so you've seen that this year with Ben Johnson. So I give both of them, both Caleb and Johnson, credit for being able to move forward. But Caleb Williams, you're always going to kind of get the highs and lows, because Caleb is that type of player. He can give you those, oh my goodness moments, like he did with that down, field crazy pass to Komet to, send it into overtime. But he can also give you those heads in the laps kind of moments too, that you saw in overtime where clearly it lost the game for Chicago. And that's really what you get from a talent like Caleb Williams, because he does take chances. He is a guy, too, that you got to love the fact he has mobility, and you saw it in that game. It's hard to defend when you have a guy that can do both pretty well. I'm happy with what I've seen progress-wise from him, and it's just the first year with those two together. So if you're a Bears fan, you cannot be disappointed with what you saw this year, because I think they're ahead of schedule. But it's just the way that it happened. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you make a throw like he made there, it's almost like you have to win the game at that, or like there's no scenario where they shouldn't win the game. Like the Rams should just forfeit. Like, it's that incredible of a play where you don't want it to be wasted in a loss. But at the same time, like this is the time that you want Caleb to make these mistakes. And it sucks, but also good that they're happening on this stage so that hopefully you can learn from it. But what I have learned most from Caleb Williams this season, which is exciting, it's kind of, again, the same way Chiefs fans have felt about Patrick Mahomes for a very long time. And this is, I'm trying to be careful making this comparison because he hasn't gotten there yet. But, like, Caleb will always give you a chance. And I think every single Bears fan should have full confidence in their franchise quarterback going forward. If we give him a chance in the fourth quarter, he can deliver for us. And we have this freak that's able to make these plays and pull a rabbit out of his hat sometimes, which is what you need. You need to be lucky as well to make a Super Bowl run. You need to be lucky at times. So Caleb has shown me that. The Bears as a whole, though, Kayla, I'm very curious in, because I saw all this reaction. Man, the Bears next year. Look out for the Bears next year. And I want to believe it, too, because they were so much fun this year. But what makes the Bears different from the Washington Commanders of last year, right? Where they were look at this team, look at it, and then they fell flat on their face, right? Why are the Bears going to be different? I'm very curious to see what they do this summer.
I am too, and I think one of the main things, while the defense played well in that game, better than expected, I should say, because the defense was definitely the weakness of this team this year. They definitely need to make a couple more moves on the defensive side of the ball. What's great about that, and what goes in favor with the Bears with that, is they really have a lot of their young offensive pieces in place. Yeah. They've got 2 tight ends. They've got a plethora of wide receivers, most of them young in Odunze and Luther Burden. Yep. And you've got, the 2 running backs that they have as well. The offensive line, I know they're still kind of like, you always should be padding the offensive line. Let me make that clear. Yep. You should always be making some sort of move to pad your offensive line to always have depth there, whether that be in free agency or a later draft pick that you could see growing into being a starter. But the defensive side of the ball, they definitely need to make sure that there are some younger additions. I know Kevin Byard, who I covered with the Tennessee Titans, is somebody that they want to bring back. A lot of happiness with what they got out of him, leading the league in interceptions this year. So, but he's an older piece, like he's an older safety. So they've got some moves they've got to make on defense if they really want to get to the next level. But I think it is a team that's going to be hard to beat next year. Yeah, real quick shout out to Matt Stafford. He also made some incredible throws. He won a playoff game without throwing a single touchdown, which is pretty incredible, but also a lot of that has to do with his running back. I mean, Kyron Williams was sensational in this game for the Rams when they needed it. But we're going to switch gears to the AFC because we got a couple of interesting AFC matchups. That Broncos-Bills game was crazy and had some heartbreak at the end of it for both teams. We'll talk about that and more coming up next on Matt and Kayla.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Let's go! You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, sauna seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Sometimes you need country music. If I'm the problem. Next time you have that feeling, check out New Country 105.1 KNCI, where you have 4 opportunities each weekday to win $1,000 and double your paycheck. New Country for Sacramento, 105.1 KNCI.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Snap, placement, kick on the way, and Denver's going to the AFC Championship game. Lutz from 24 yards out. They beat the Buffalo Bills this afternoon, 33-30.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Yes, congratulations to my wife's Denver Broncos. Yeah.
Boy.
Dumb horses. Hey, they did what they needed to do. Look, the Broncos, we talk so much about how great the Broncos defense is, and they win on the backs of their defense. The offense stepped up. They scored 33 points when they needed to. The defense made some huge plays as well, turning over Josh Allen as much as they did. Like, you look at some of these offensive numbers for the Bills, like coming into the game. If I had just told you, no context of the game, if I had told you that Josh Allen threw for 283 yards and 3 touchdowns, that James Cook rushed for 117 yards, like you would have said, yeah, the Bills probably won that game because the Broncos defense wasn't good enough. But I mean, 2 interceptions for Josh Allen, 3 fumbles. Some of those fumbles, like he had the one that he had at the end of the first half when he's not even taking care of the basketball. He's just holding the ball out and he gets knocked out of his hands. Like Josh was very emotional after the game.
Very. He cried.
He was very emotional. His teammates were emotional. He took ownership, and I thought Josh's leadership at the end of the game was really good. I admire the hell out of Josh Allen for his leadership. I do feel that because Josh recognized that this season's Bills team wasn't as good as in the past, he felt like he had to force the issue more. A lot of his interceptions just felt like he was trying to go for this shot and sneak a perfect pass into a small window. If Josh plays, this sounds so weird, but if Josh plays within himself, I think the Bills probably win this game. But I think he felt like he had to be the hero a few too many times, and the Broncos took advantage of that. So this was a really impressive win for the Broncos because the defense did what they were supposed to do, and the offense still stepped up and got this team the points needed to put a team like Josh Allen's Bills away. So as much as I want to roll my eyes and crap on the Broncos just because out of my spite for them, that was a very impressive win. There's a but at the end of it, which we'll talk about, but that was a very impressive win.
It was, and you were talking about some of the numbers. If you were just to do like a blind comparison, you had mentioned some of their offensive numbers. Add to this time of possession in this one, 40 minutes pretty much. 41 minutes compared to 29 in terms of the favor of the Bills with time of possession. Also, when you look at the run game, and we talked about like Cooks, and like he's obviously one of those guys that's been one of the best in the league on the ground this year. Usually in situations like that, when you're a quarterback like Josh Allen, as talented as he is, but you have a back like him, it's like, okay, that usually goes in your favor too. The run game, 183 in terms of yards on the ground to 70 compared to the Broncos. So all of those things, again, in favor of the Bills in this one. But unfortunately, this is where it all is decided, especially in the playoffs. 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers to the Broncos 1. Anytime that's mind-blowing.
And Josh is responsible for 4 of them.
And Josh is responsible for 4 of them. And it brings us back to the whole, unfortunately, like being, the bridesmaid and not the bride kind of thing. Because he's gotten to a point every year, it seems like, where they're just that close. But then it's like we all expect for him to put on the Superman cape. And I think at this point, he kind of takes on that role. And it's like, Josh, we don't like actually the Superman role sometimes because that's when you're prone to make those mistakes. And give a lot of credit to the Broncos defense. It's been one of the best all year. in the NFL. And they knew if they could put that pressure on him that he would make mistakes, and sure enough, that happened.
Yeah, Josh was very open after the game about his feelings of like letting his teammates down, and it's hard not to feel that way when you have those 4 turnovers, because the reality is you should never have been in a position to lose this game if you clean up those turnovers. Again, mentioned like the fumble at the end of the first half leads to a field goal that the Broncos never should have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
You lost the game by 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
The game was tied at 30 going at like that.
Right.
We can't. It's easy to say, oh, take 3 points here, take 3 points there, and it changes the final score. You can't always do that. But there's an instance of like, if you just take care of the football in that spot and don't try and make too much happen there, you're in a completely different position. And who knows how the game shakes up after that. So Josh has to wear that, and I'm sure he was feeling the pressure of the entire Bills organization, which is, look, the red carpet is rolled out for us in this scenario.
Yeah.
Yes, the Broncos defense is really good. Yes, the Seahawks defense is really good if you were to face them in the Super Bowl. Yes, if the Texans had made it past the Patriots, their defense is really good. Like these are exciting young teams and young quarterbacks and groups that you didn't expect to be there, who deserve to be there. Don't get me wrong. It's not like the Broncos didn't deserve to be there and lucked into there. They deserved it. But you're the veteran team. You're the reigning MVP. Regardless of if your team's not as good or not, you can't get past the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, guess what? They're at home. They're sitting on their couch watching. The door is wide open for you to finally do it this year. And I think you could see that Josh Allen was playing with that pressure.
And you just mentioned, like, the big boogeyman's out of the way, Patrick Mahomes. And that was always they keep on running into Kansas City. It's like, nah, this year they did not run into Kansas City. They ran into a young quarterback, yes, with a good defense and a good head coach, but with all the experience that the Bills have had in the playoffs, and hence why probably Sean McDermott does not have his job this morning. And we can talk about that later in the week if we get into some of these coaching vacancies. But that is kind of what you're expected to do at this point with all that experience. You are the more experienced quarterback, the more experienced team. Look, James Cook did a heavy load this year in terms of, carrying the team as well, because he's been so good on the ground. And you have to wonder, like, Josh Allen, he didn't have all his weapons in terms of his wide receivers. Like Dalton Kincaid, their tight end, led the way in receiving yards. So there are some things that you didn't have at your full, what is it called?
Yeah, your
full arsenal.
Yeah, it wasn't like you were. Let's put it this way: if the Bills this season were last season's team and they lost at this stage, then you'd be like, we have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
The Bills can at least go into this offseason. They fired McDermott. They're looking for a new head coach. So they can go out and try and find their guy. And then they can go out and bolster the receiver position, which they absolutely need to do. Bolster the receiver position.
Get
and
younger.
Then it shouldn't be doom and gloom for the Bills to where this might have been their best shot. Or best
just
chance.
Because of the opponents.
Right, because of the opponents.
Yeah.
But they can still themselves be a significantly better version of their team and get right back here.
Sure.
So if I'm a Bills fan, I'm not panicking necessarily, but I'm going, God, what a wasted opportunity.
It's a wasted opportunity, I think, for the most part, because this is the year, and how many more years are we going to get? Maybe we will, where anything is up for grabs.
Yeah.
There is any team that can win the Super Bowl this year because you don't have the boogeyman or the boogeymans in the way.
Right.
And unfortunately, this is still the Bills' life, Bills fans' life that they're living with. It's just like, why can't we do this?
And in a season like this, too, where there is so much possibility, experience is usually what separates you.
Yeah,
and that's
I would
where everybody
think.
was looking at the Bills and like, they've got the experience. They are the team that, out of everybody still in the picture, they're the team that we all would say, quote unquote, belongs here. And that's disrespectful to everybody else, but like going into the season, nobody had this AFC and NFC championship lineup, period. Maybe the Seahawks. Like maybe you could talk yourself into it.
And we didn't even think that to start the year.
Right. But the Bills was like, yeah, the Bills are probably going to be there. And they might be facing the Chiefs again. But it's hard not to look at the season as a wasted opportunity, but the Bills still have a place that they can go. The Denver Broncos, as much as I turn my nose up at them, like I'm gutted for them because they've had this tremendous year, a magical type run. The defense is as good as it is. They win this game, and then right after the highs and the celebrating of we just knocked off the Bills, we're going to the AFC Championship game, then you get the news that Bo Nix has broken his ankle. And I've watched the highlight of when it supposedly happened. I still don't get it. I don't know how he broke his ankle. I don't know what happened, but It's just such a gut punch for a team that is their defense good enough to survive it? Maybe in the AFC Championship game. In the Super Bowl, I just they had the elation of that win, and I also think their Super Bowl chances truly went up in flames at the same time.
That's the first thing I thought of. I'm not going to lie. I think they've done a good job with what they've had this year. And Bo Nix, look, Bo is still developing.
Sure.
I think Bo, there's still stuff left to get out of Bo. But Bo Nix for the most part, had a pretty decent game.
His dime at the end in the fourth quarter was beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, 279, 3 touchdowns. He had that interception. Line kept him clean, though. No sacks. But the defense, yes, it always gives you a chance when you have a type of defense like this. But how far can you get if the other team is just healthier all around on both sides of the ball? And that's where I worry about this one with New England coming into town.
Yep.
I just think while they have a young quarterback in Drake May, I think he learned some really valuable lessons taking on Houston this past weekend that I think could help him in a game like this against a defense like this. Mm-hmm. And Mike Vrabel's just a gamer. I mean, he is going to love the underdog role, although they won't have it this weekend probably because Bo Nix is out. He's still going to prepare his team like they are the underdogs.
Sure.
I just feel like the minute I heard Nix was out, I'm sorry, no disrespect to Jarrett Stidham, but he has no experience.
Yeah. No, the Patriots should have the green light to go right into the Super Bowl. Once they get there, though, I think they're in trouble. I think the NFC is winning the Super Bowl this year.
It's the best division. It was the best division by far.
And it makes sense that two of the NFC West teams are there, and we'll see which one makes it through. But Patriots, really quickly, because we're up against it here, but the Patriots impressed me as well because they scored 28 points on that Houston Texans defense that's been that good. And then the Patriots defense, they turn over CJ's 4 interceptions. I know Stroud had that's a nightmare fuel type game.
I could do a show on CJ Stroud.
And we'll get more into that a little bit later on because I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But focusing on the Patriots sides of things, they beat the Texans at their own game and still put 28 points on the board. That was an impressive victory against the hottest team in football.
Yeah, all I'll say on this one is Mike Vrabel knows what he's doing. That defense isn't the best defense in the NFL, but they sure showed that they had some kahunas about them in that game because the minute they got into C.J. Stroud's head, they never got out of his head. And that is one thing C.J. Stroud struggles with, especially in the playoffs. He is a little bit of a mind kind of quarterback where you get into his head, and it's hard for him to get out of a funk.
We are going to hear Kayla's thoughts on CJ Stroud. We're going to hear Kayla's thoughts on the Tennessee Titans hiring Robert Salah. There's a lot of Kayla still coming in this show, but coming up next is Kayla's segment that she brought from her time in Tennessee. It's Q&K. She has that for us when we come back.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, inviting you to come join them every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. It's a safe and friendly environment, plenty of well-lit parking available, and it's conveniently located right there in downtown Sacramento. And remember, best food, best service, best games, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Trust and Will.
My dad and I were always close, but some things we just didn't talk about, like his will. After he was gone, we found out he didn't have one, and it created a lot of stress during a time of grief.
Creating a will can be hard to think about,
but avoiding it can lead to greater difficulty for the people you love. That's why Trust and Will makes estate planning simple. Create a will online in as little as 30 minutes.
Now, I have a will in place to make sure my loved ones are protected. With Trust and Will, it was easy and affordable. And I got peace of mind knowing my wishes are clear.
Trust and Will.
Get 20% off when you visit trustandwill.com/plan. That's trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Kayla Anderson is a savage, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And she is bringing us, technically this is a Monday segment, but we didn't have a Monday. We enjoyed our 3-day weekend, and I hope you enjoyed your 3-day weekend as well out there. We're very excited as a show to make it to the second week. Matt George, Kayla Anderson, and, of course, Kyle Ledbetter in the other room. Kyle, you haven't been able to weigh in on any of these playoff games so far, so we're going to get you into the mix with that, but you're also going to be a part of this next segment that we're doing. It's Kayla's staple that she brought with her from sports radio in Tennessee. It's Q and K. Kayla, what is the Q and K question this week?
Q and K, take it away. So there
is
was
that what they said? Q and K, take it away?
No, but I just made that
okay,
up.
well, I have to start saying that.
I'm rhyming.
Q and K, I got to write that down.
Q and K, take it away. So we had a big game last night, and it was called the College Football Playoff.
Great game.
Championship.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Heat Warriors.
I mean, that too, of course.
We'll talk about the Warriors too. Jonathan Kuminga. Ooh,
yeah.
Your door might have opened.
Yep. So my question, maybe you watched it, maybe you didn't, but this might pertain to you no matter what way you go here. With all the changes in college football, with the transfer portal, NIL, players just not sticking around, how interested are you now when it comes to college football and watching?
I think I am even more interested because I'm always the armchair GM and not the armchair coach or player.
Interesting.
Because I know my limitations. I'm the guy that buys like the NBA 2K video game or Madden and goes and runs my franchise, but simulates the games. Because, okay, I see the numbers, now I'm going to make trades this way. So building teams and handling the transfer market, transfer portal, and handling like just all these NIL deals and stuff like to me, I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated to know like a head coach's job is definitely X's and O's on the field, but outside of game day and practices, they're on the phones recruiting. Like you have to hire these coaches that have personality, that can't just keep players here, but also bring them in.
Like Kirk Signetti?
Right? Exactly. Like, even if the man doesn't smile, like we got a smile at the end of last night's game, but there's such a respect there that players love to play for him. And quick sidebar, because we'll talk about the national championship, but I love that Indiana is a great reminder in sports right now that you don't need to have a super team with all these 5 stars and sensational talent in order to have a perfect season and win it all. So congratulations to Indiana. But I'm definitely invested in the behind the curtain of college football right now. I have no idea how it's done and how you handle it, and I would be frustrated as hell if I was a coach. That's why you see so many of these old-timer coaches that are like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Like Saban, he's why he retired.
I'm not doing this anymore. But it's the Wild West, man, and I think it's fascinating to see how you build teams and the best coaches, how you're able to keep those teams together.
Interesting point. Kyle?
So I was just thinking about this. I think some parts I like, some parts I am not here for, but my college football viewing experience is completely different than it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, the way that I consume college football has just completely changed. One, it's like there's 2 seasons now. There's the recruiting period, and then there's the actual season. So, like, at USC, Lincoln Riley has been talked about as not doing a good job, and they haven't gotten to the playoff and all that stuff. But he has the number 1 recruiting class, and so everyone is like, well, there's no way you can fire him. He's about to have the number 1 recruiting class, and if you fire a coach, you lose that recruiting class.
Sure.
Look at what happened to Sac State. So I have to adjust my expectation to, like, there's 2 seasons in college football now. Love that players are getting paid. Love that there was a quote where Carson Beck was asked, did you go to school this week or go to class? And he was like, graduated 2 years ago, haven't been to school. Love that that's a thing now. We don't have to pretend that they're student athletes. If you have a college degree and still have eligibility, you should be allowed to make $4 million like Carson Beck and live in a house in South Miami and just be a football player if they're willing to pay you to do it. Love that part of it. I can't get into the 12-team playoff. The playoff kind of starts for me at 8, which then they should probably reorganize their schedule because it ends too late. Like, the semifinal should probably be in, like, late December or early January type of situation. So the calendar itself makes it harder for me to get into college football, but I was, like, entrenched once we got to the Final Four. This Final Four was so fascinating to me because you had incredible storylines across the board. Like, the championship games have all been blowouts for the last, like, 7 years, but this year you had the super interesting Ole Miss story, which is kind of the epicenter of the changes in college football, where the coach left in the middle of the playoff run.
That was crazier than any transfer.
Yeah.
You had that. You had the crazy Miami story where they're a 10 seed and they've somehow made this run to the final. Obviously, Oregon is fascinating because they're kind of like the Dodgers of college football now, where they're just throwing money at everyone and buying Dante Moore out of an NFL rookie contract. And then obviously Indiana, that was the greatest story the sports scene in decades. So, like, once it got there, I got interested. I wasn't into it up until you got to the Final Four.
So I have 2 quick questions. One's for you, Kyle, and then one's a turnaround Q&K question for you. You said you don't like the 12-team format, go down to an 8-team. But does Miami never gets the chance if it's an 8-team, right? And Miami, so a 12-team at least opens the door more for opportunities for teams that, because if the less teams there are, the more the committee is just going to put the powerhouses in there simply because of name recognition value. And I think that hurts more than it helps.
Yeah, but the history of college football is rooted in, if you lose in the regular season, then you don't really have a chance at the championship. Like, Miami probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs. If you have the old system last year, Ryan Day loses to Michigan that last week of the season, and he gets fired. And then you have him going on, losing that game and going on to win the national championship, and now he's beloved coach at Ohio State. So, again, I think less teams in the playoffs is good. If you lose 2 games, you probably shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but teams get better.
Yeah.
And Miami lost 2 games earlier in the season, and they got better.
And they learned, they developed, and they got hot at the right time and knocked off some powerhouses in order to get that far. The Q&K question I'm going to turn around on you really quick is kind of sticking with the same idea. How does NIL deals, and we saw it with Dante Moore pulling out of the draft, but these quarterbacks who are or star players that are going to start transferring, bouncing from team to team. You still need 3 years of college eligibility before you're drafted, right? So one, does the NFL look to potentially change that? And the second part of that is how does that change how NFL teams evaluate a talent? Because if this guy is, as a junior, a top 5 talent, but he started his career at UCLA, then he went to Oregon, and then ended up at Notre Dame, and he bounces around every year, I probably don't feel as good about him because it's like, what is he, and is he going to stick around in the long term?
No. I'll turn it around on you.
Okay.
No. It's the opposite.
Oh.
It's what happened to Cam Ward. When you have a guy, and again, this can be in 2 different categories. Cam Ward was a 0-star coming out of high school.
Right.
He took advantage of getting better every place he went.
Sure.
Having to deal with different OCs. And having success wherever he went. And then the NFL teams look at that. It's a big reason why the Titans took him. Look at that as like, this guy can deal with adversity. it might go back on some guys like Carson Beck, who, was at Georgia, had success, then had a really bad year, went to Miami, had pretty good success, but there's still like questions about him. Mm-hmm. He didn't do as much moving around. I would almost argue with you because look at Fernando Mendoza.
Sure.
He started out at Cal. He took advantage of going to a place where he could probably further his, his stars or whatever in terms of how teams looked at him. And now he's going to be a first overall pick, it looks like.
Yeah.
I think teams look at it as long as you get better and you progress as a quarterback, they want guys like that.
Interesting.
I think the change in college football, too, is that because they have they have smaller roster budgets, but you have $25 million roster budgets for these teams and the pressure to win. These schools at the top do not have time to prioritize your development because there is such a pressure to win. I think that's why you're seeing all the top quarterbacks now are guys that are either at the FCS level or the group of 5 level at some point during their careers. Or like Fernando, was the third string quarterback at Cal when he first got there. And so a lot of these guys, look at Arch Manning, the golden child, has been at Texas the whole time, and you haven't seen any development because Texas can't afford to prioritize a development when there's such a pressure cooker to win. I think that's also part of why, like, in the new age, someone like Ryder Lyons, the local Sacramento guy, is going to go be a red shirt at BYU, probably never play, maybe stick around a second year at BYU, transfer to a group of 5 school if it doesn't work out, or transfer to one of these ACC Big 12 programs if he does work out and gets a chance to play. It's just, you have to go to these other schools to prioritize your development.
Yep. I mean, the landscape of college football to me is fascinating, but there's just so much going on outside of the actual games themselves that, like Kyle was talking about, with the exception of, oh, hey, college football is back and I watched the first week matchups or those massive marquee matchups that happen every once in a while on national television. With the exception of that, it's just hard to dive into the weeds of a college football season. It's just so much going on off the field that how much of the games are really, they matter, but how much of the games matter,
It's hard for fans just in general to root for their teams and know exactly what's going to happen year to year. Yeah. It's hard because there are so many moving pieces. You're losing guys left and right. Your favorite player might be this guy one day, and the other day he's playing for Miami. So as a fan, it's harder. I've lost interest as a fan with like teams, but overall it's much more interesting because I don't think we're going to get the dynasties when it comes to championships.
Well, let's switch gears to a little bit of Sacramento Kings talk. The Kings extended their win streak to 4. Then they had it snapped on Sunday, and they take on the Miami Heat tonight. And I got a serious question about Domantas Sabonis' future here in Sacramento. Get ready for some Kings talk, and if you want to be a part of it, you can call in or text in 916-339-1140, 800-920-1140. We're talking Kings to start hour number 2 next on Sactown Sports.
There are many reasons to choose Gonzalez Law Offices as a dedicated trial lawyer with an undefeated record from 2016 through 2019, and you'll know that no case is too big or too small. Due to his success, hard work, and commitment to excellence, attorney Jonathan Gonzalez has been listed in Super Lawyers Rising Stars, as well as in the top 40 under 40 list by national trial lawyers. You can find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call him at 916-304-9187.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Trust and Will.
My dad and I were always close, but some things we just didn't talk about, like his will. After he was gone, we found out he didn't have one, and it created a lot of stress during a time of grief.
Creating a will can be hard to think about, but avoiding it can lead to greater difficulty for the people you love. That's why Trust and Will makes estate planning simple. Create a will online in as little as 30 minutes.
Now, I have a will in place to make sure my loved ones are protected. With Trust and Will, it was easy and affordable. And I got peace of mind knowing my wishes are clear.
Trust and Will.
Get 20% off when you visit trustandwill.com/plan. That's trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Award-winning guitarist and songwriter Gary Clark Jr. Tour 2026, Saturday, January 31st, 7 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. An electrifying night of music with Gary Clark Jr. Special guest, Marcus King Band. On sale at the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Gary Clark Jr. Live.
You ever notice how the other guys scream about massive discounts on their Dodge, Chrysler, or Jeep Ram vehicles? Then you get to the fine print and boom, another $5,200 in mandatory ads. At Hoblet, we don't insult your intelligence. The price you see is the price you pay. No mystery add-ons, no bait and switch, no gotcha when you sit down to buy. Hoblet, family owned for 77 years. Transparency, straightforward pricing. Buy it right, buy it at Hoblet.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
We appreciate you spending this second week of the show's existence with us. A short week, though, 4 days instead of 5, because we all enjoyed that 3-day weekend that was jam-packed in sports, from all the NFL playoff action to the national championship game we just got done talking about. Oh, and then the Sacramento Kings played a couple of games. They
sure did.
Defeated the Washington Wizards to extend that win streak to 4 games, and that was a return for both Domantas Sabonis and Dennis Schroeder. And then they lost against the Portland Trailblazers on Sunday in a fairly competitive game. Blazers were definitely the better team. They've been the better team. And what's been interesting, Kayla, is you look at the Blazers roster and you look at the team construction. And I think the Portland Trailblazers are a really, really good example for Scott Perry going forward, because they're not the model to follow, because they haven't done anything yet. They haven't won anything yet. And they might be a play-in team. They might not. Looks like they're going to have a chance at some postseason basketball this year, and good for them. They're not. I mean, OKC is the model, or even the Warriors dynasty is the model. Like, that's the model of how to do it right. But I think the Trailblazers are a fantastic example for Sacramento Kings general manager Scott Perry, that, hey, rather than prioritizing names and talented individuals, if you bring together a roster or a group of players that fits the identity of what you're trying to build, and we know Scott Perry has his 6 pillars, if you emphasize guys that aren't the highest paid, you still need stars. Like Denny Advia is really, really good.
Very good.
And Shaedon Sharpe is a very gifted young scorer. But if you prioritize fit talent over like superstar talent and this hodgepodge of big names that the Kings have put together, you're going to be in a better spot. And I think the Blazers were a nice reminder, and as we're going to transition to this conversation about Dylan Cardwell, Maxime Reynaud, and Domantas Sabonis, I think it's all just a good reminder of a rebuild can be done correctly without prioritizing these big names or these once-was type players like the Kings have littering their roster.
It's a really good point made by you. I know that we've had a conversation about the amount of talent on this team, but it just doesn't mesh.
Yep.
And that's sometimes what happens when you're like, oh, this player, he's got these stats, that he scores these many points, like he's on the team. And you think, oh, you get lost sometimes in the star part of it. And I'm not saying there's like big time stars on this team, but they're individual players that are really good and still have a lot to give. But on this team, when they're all together, it clearly does not work. So the talent on this roster, definitely better than the Blazers right now overall. But I think what you're trying to say is they have a vision that they have created in Portland, and they have gone and got some players that might not be the biggest starstruck big name guys, but they've made it work in a way that they're all playing together for each other. I heard a lot, and I think I even heard it from Doug Christie after the loss, that they had the more of the energy from start to finish that the Kings were lacking in that loss against the Portland Trailblazers, something that they have had a lot of times out on the court together playing as one. And so you're right. Are we going to pass up on an opportunity to have a top, 3 pick and get a great possible star in here? No, absolutely not. But it's not the end all be all if it maybe is a spot where you're like 4 or 5 picking this year, if you have the right vision or sticking with that vision of what you really want as a team. Right now, the big question is Doug the guy that is going to carry out this vision? Because it's just as much of Perry's job, it's Doug's job too to continue with what he wants to do with this team.
Well, obviously I'm not covering Portland Trailblazers basketball and deep in the trenches of it daily, but from the outside perspective, it just seems like that is a roster of guys so they all know what their roles are, they know what their job is.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've really been able to say the same at all about this this Kings roster. But you brought up Doug Christie, and I'm glad you did, because before we dive into this Domantas Sabonis conversation, Doug Christie deserves a hell of a lot of credit, because on Friday we were talking about the return of Sabonis and the return of Dennis Schroeder, and I was crashing out on these airwaves about don't let this mean that Malik Monk and Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Reynaud, they just get pushed to the back burner. They don't matter anymore because you have to have these veterans back. And Doug Christie's rotations over these last 2 games have been phenomenal and very, very difficult to do. Have they been perfect? No, not necessarily, but the minutes distribution is really good. Against Washington, nobody played more than 32 minutes and 47 seconds. That was DeMar DeRozan, but that's different from 41 minutes he played in the win against the New York Knicks. If you were to tell me for the rest of the season, Matt, the veterans are capped at 32, 33 minutes a night, that is perfect, because it's not realistic unless Scott Perry trades these guys. It's not realistic to ask Doug to say, hey, tell Zach Lavine he's not playing anymore.
Exactly.
That's not happening. But if you balance things out better, like Sabonis came in off the bench, played 21 minutes. I know they're easing him back from an injury. Great. Neat Clifford played well against Washington, just shy of 19 minutes. Dennis Schroeder played 20. Dylan Cardwell played just shy of 19. And then against the Portland Trailblazers, you have a good distribution. The most minutes were DeMar DeRozan with 35, a little bit high, but not horrible. Russell Westbrook had 34. Zach Lavine played under 30. Sabonis played 20. Dylan Cardwell played 26. Malik Monk played 26. This is what I envisioned. It's balance it out a little bit more. And you're going to put yourself in positions to win games. And then if you want to go, the next step is once you get into the fourth quarter and it's a close game, I know you want to go veteran heavy in those moments because you love those guys and they've done it their entire career and you'd expect them to take you across the finish line. The next step is incorporating the young guys more in those moments, and we kind of saw that with Dylan Cardwell out there on the floor in the fourth quarter instead of Domantas Sabonis.
And I know Doug Christie answered the question about that too. Why put Dylan Cardwell out there in the closing minutes, and he pretty much just said he's earned it. He's playing, he's playing hard under the rim, he's being able to prove why he should be out there right now. And Doug's absolutely right, and that gives me some comfort too at this time of the season when we're still seeing everybody here. There's no moves been made, and so Doug's having to kind of work with now the guys coming back, with Sabonis coming back, with Schroeder coming back. And I think maybe we guessed that it would be heavy minutes for the vets, and it wasn't. And then he is asked about why he did that, and he's pretty much like he's earned it. Dylan Cardwell has earned it, which he has.
100%.
He's played really well, and that's no matter what happens, and I hope there is a move. There needs to be a move that is done. But you can't just go call teams and say, do this. That's just not how the way it works.
Right, especially now.
Especially now. So if this is unfortunately the case moving forward, even if there's just one move made and we still have a lot of the veterans here, as long as we've seen something like this where Doug actually is giving opportunity to these younger guys, that's what I want to see, because that is where the growth is happening. That is why Dylan Cardwell has gotten his chance to show what kind of player he can be. Not going to be some big-time, points guy, even though I thought he was really good underneath.
Yeah,
down low.
He's great around the rim.
Just
once he leaves the paint.
Once he
yikes.
leaves the paint, yeah, that's another story. But if you can get him getting some of those gritty points when you need him to, that's a benefit. But just the energy part, too, has been undeniable. So we got to just still continue to see the youth development, even if there is log jams.
Yeah, so this is a classic radio show type conversation that if I were to bring it in front of players, I would be ripped to shreds for it, and rightfully so. If I were to bring it to Doug Christie, I'd be ripped to shreds for it, and rightfully so. But this is what Scott Perry has to consider, and I guarantee you this is what this front office is at least having preliminary conversations about. Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Reynaud are not nearly as good as Domantas Sabonis is. It's not a question. And we're not going to pretend that an undrafted rookie and a second-round pick is the same level of Domantas Sabonis. They're not. But what these two guys are showing you, what the Portland Trailblazers have shown you, is if you prioritize fits to what you're trying to do at your position, even if they're not the biggest names and the highest paid guys, that can be more effective for you. And I think what we are seeing from these two, and granted, I don't know, if you were to ask me, Matt, 3 years from now, the Kings have rebuilt properly, they're back in the playoffs, and Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Reynaud is their center rotation, I'm probably going, I don't know. Like, I don't have the answer to that question yet. I don't know if I can fully label those guys as the future that much in that sense yet. They haven't shown it enough. But I think we're seeing that the center position today is still extremely important. Shout out Nikola Jokic. Shout out Joel Embiid, these centers. But what do those two centers do that I just named? They're first and foremost scorers. Domantas Sabonis is not. And you're paying him almost $50 million a year. I don't know if you're going to be able to get rid of that contract because of how expensive it is. And if the Kings shop Sabonis, great. If not, great. Regardless, I think what those two are showing us and are showing the Kings are that Domantas Sabonis isn't necessarily needed for this Kings rebuild going forward. And that arguably you would be better off with those two centers or centers of that archetype, let's call it, and using that money that you're paying Sabonis to bring in the stars at either the point guard position or the wing position that you need to prioritize, and you're probably a better basketball team. It's a very brutal topic or take to have in regards to Domantas Sabonis because it's not fair to him as a player. But in terms of team construction, I think that's the route that the Sacramento Kings have to go, and it's being shown to them every time Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Reynaud are on the floor.
It is. And look, it's unfortunate because I'm a huge player advocate, always have been, right? But it's also a business, and when it comes to a new type of mentality and a new GM and a new vision, sometimes some of those older pieces that you love, a lot of people love Domas, right?
I do too. I do.
He's done great things for the organization.
Yep.
Unfortunately, when you're trying to move forward, the hardest part sometimes is getting rid of some of the things in the past that are going to probably keep you down a bit. This is a huge contract. If it wasn't a huge contract, Domas might be gone by now. If you honestly are trying to get my opinion on it, and not because he's not a good player or not good teammate, whatever, because he just doesn't necessarily fit what the vision is moving forward at that position for this team, like you have mentioned.
Spot on.
I mean, Domas is a guy where we know he's a little unique and where the offense, can kind of run through him. That's not what the vision is for this team moving forward. So I agree with you on that. Sometimes pieces aren't going to be as big of a name or sexy right now for what this team is wanting to do, but that's the future. And the only reason I think he's still here is because of the contract.
Yeah. Well, look, Matt George has to eat some crow here because I don't think there was a person in this city that at least had a microphone and an obnoxious voice like me that was a defender of Domantas Sabonis more during the Beam Team years.
Didn't you say the contract, give him it?
I thought it was absolutely the right move to make at the time. Since then, he has not lived up to the contract whatsoever. And the Kings have been in a complete tailspin as an organization, back to this place of irrelevancy and back to a place where the writing is clearly on the wall. They need to rebuild. Like everybody knows it. They know it. The Kings know. Like it's just very clear. You need to rebuild. And Kayla, rebuilding successfully is hard enough to do. Rebuilding successfully around a center like Domantas Sabonis, who has a reputation around the league of not being an easy guy to build around. The conversation alone, Kyle and I were having this conversation before the show today. Do you play Maxime Reynaud next to Domantas Sabonis, or you play Dylan Cardwell? Well, Dylan Cardwell is a better rim protector than Max is, and that helps Sabonis on the defensive end. But the spacing between Dylan Cardwell and Domas is terrible, so that's why you want Max out there to shoot threes. Like, that is the problem. Instead of, we're seeing Dylan Cardwell and Max rotating for each other and playing together and being at least somewhat effective over a short period of time. Like, the whole point is, it's not that Sabonis is a bad basketball player. It's just if you are trying to rebuild, you would rather have the money that you're paying him and have the center archetype that fits you better. And that means Sabonis potentially got to go.
It is hard. It's never something that's easy. You got your jerseys, you got your set in your ways, but this is what building something is, and building something kind of from the base up. It's unfortunate sometimes these types of pieces have to go to rebuild. I want to quickly ask you a question though about, how it is more difficult to kind of go through a guy like Sabonis, and it is harder. You just explained the situations when either Maxime is out there, Maxime or Dylan is out there. What is, in terms of Doug Christie and his thought on Sabonis, because he has worked with him before this season, what do you think I'm just like, and I'm telling you to speak for him, but what do you feel like he thinks about this situation, knowing that he's a certain way about what he's looking for moving forward?
Well, Doug was Domantas Sabonis' developmental coach for years. So Doug knows better than anybody what Sabonis is working on and what the Kings over the last handful of years have tried to get Sabonis to do better. One of those things has been three-point shooting. Last season, he took a significant jump with his three-point shooting. The volume went up, the percentages went up, and then in theory, it's like, okay, Sabonis can space the floor a little bit better, so now you can play him with more of a rim-protecting center like Dylan Cardwell in that scenario. Well, the three-point shot has not been there for Sabonis this year, and it's not good enough consistently for teams to respect it enough. Just like when Sabonis and Cardwell were out there together and you put Dylan Cardwell in the corner, there's nobody that needs to stand within 100 feet of that guy. And we love Dylan. Dylan cannot shoot. Everybody knows it. It's ugly. He shoots worse than me, and that's saying something, right?
What do you mean? His 0 for 1 3-point percentage isn't impressing you?
And the 0 for 1, I don't know if that ball came remotely close to the
rim. We pulled the video. It was an air ball from the corner.
It was not good.
Brutal. But that's okay. That's not his game.
No.
Like, that's I think...
Again, he knows his role.
I think Domantas Sabonis is elite at what he does. He is a playmaking center. Elite at that. If you run the ball through Sabonis in the high post or with DHOs, that's where we saw Mike Brown and the Sacramento Kings have the best offense in history, Beam Team year 1. But I don't think the Kings, one, want to run that way because it takes very specific pieces to run that way. And number 2, I don't think Domantas Sabonis is very adaptable to the way that the Sacramento Kings are playing right now. Can Sabonis be a pick and roll threat? Yes. But naturally, rather than setting the screen and rolling to receive, Sabonis wants to be the one to distribute. And the Kings are not going in that direction. The Kings have been far more effective. Granted, this offense can definitely get better, and a lot of these pieces that are running the offense now are not going to be around long term, right? DeMar, Russ, we don't know.
Zach Lavine.
Yeah. But a a foundational pick and roll offense with a distributing guard and a rim running center, or in Maxime Reynaud's case, a center that can roll and hit that like float shot, there's a foundation there. And when two of your three centers fit that foundation and the other one doesn't and stands out, and he's the highest paid and he's the star, if you're going to mold everything around him because he's the highest paid and he's the star, it's not good for everybody else. I think that's my general point.
Well, and look, Scott Perry did not draft Domantas Sabonis.
Nope.
And it
Didn't
all
pay him
comes
either.
back to, didn't pay him either. When it's all said and done, Perry has been, said by Vivek, given the keys to the car to pretty much like make the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have, like you just described, those two centers compared to a guy like Domas, that's the vision it looks like for Perry, compared to what Domas was for Monty?
Yes, Domas.
McNair?
Monty gave him the bag.
Right. So
traded for him. Traded Tyrese Halliburton for him.
Exactly. So it is interesting too. You do have to go back to the wide, broad picture. It might not happen right now, but it does seem more like those are more of a fit for what Scott Perry's vision is for this team.
And that's it right there that you said. It might not happen right now too, because I don't think the Sacramento Kings are going into this trade deadline, which is 12 days away or something like it's no,
the 7th, right?
The 5th.
Oh, the 5th.
So
yeah,
it's coming
okay.
up. Is that 15 days? Math.
Yeah, close.
Wednesday,
whatever.
Next Wednesday, yeah.
They I don't think they're desperately now shopping Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
Sabonis was always available. And he has an audition coming up, Kayla, because the Toronto Raptors are interested in Sabonis, and the Kings play the Raptors tomorrow night.
Ooh.
So maybe a little something there. But there are other players on this roster that I think the Kings are going to more eagerly try to get rid of first and foremost. And I know for a fact that there are fans of Sabonis in that organization that would have no ifs, ands, or buts issues with him sticking around and being part of at least the initial stages of this rebuild. Sure. I don't know how much Domas wants to do that, but I know Domas is not a bad guy to have in that locker room.
No, he's not some cancer or something,
Correct.
Right?
That being said, Domas, unlike Zach Lavine, this is the big distinction, and we talked about this before. Curious your thoughts on this too. The Kings will, I think, get rid of Zach Lavine for a cup of coffee. Not because they hate Zach, but because the state of his contract plus his overall value around the league, if a team is willing to take on Zach Lavine's money, done. Sabonis, a lot of the value of moving Domantas Sabonis is getting off of his deal, for sure. But Sabonis is extremely talented, and if you can trade him to the right situation, he immediately can vault a team to a next level. He's not going to be the guy or even the second option there, but if Sabonis could become the third option on a playoff team that fits around him, now we're talking like a legit championship contender. So the Kings should expect to extract more value for Sabonis than Zach Lavine. So if they have to wait till the summer or next season to trade Sabonis, that's the better route to go. I'm not calling for Sabonis to be traded today, Kayla, but I think what we're seeing is there is a life after Sabonis, and it may be more ideal for where this team is going.
It is, and I think, and again, I'm not going to come after players, and I don't know Zach Lavine personally.
Sure.
Okay, he's probably a great guy. Unfortunately, great guys, sometimes can be an absolute horrific fit.
Yeah.
That is what Zach Lavine is here, in my opinion.
He doesn't want to be here.
He doesn't want to be here. I saw it the other night when the Beam Boys, did the beam, and they took a shot, and it kind of, in the background, Zach Lavine was doing a V-line for the door.
Yeah.
Okay? It just and I get it. Not everybody's out there doing it, but it just, the body language, it seems like he's ready to move on to something different. And I hope he has success when he does eventually leave. But for Domas, it is a little bit different right now.
Yeah.
I don't see that being a big situation. I think he still wants to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could still utilize him in terms of the rebuild. You're not going to build around him, but it's fine to have a piece like that.
Sure.
And we'll see what happens. But I agree. The fit in terms of Lavine compared to Domas, that's very different.
Zach Lavine is so frustrating too because he's such an effortless scorer.
Yeah.
Effortless.
He's really talented.
But I can't remember who put it out there. He has a career, he's one of a few players with a career plus minus of minus 2,000.
It's not good.
He just doesn't impact winning.
No.
And I don't understand why. And that's, plus minus is already an unfair stat. And I think it's completely unfair to say Zach Lavine doesn't try. I just don't the offensively gifted ability of Zach Lavine. Just clearly, there's not enough there for you to win as a franchise. And even now when Zach Lavine is not a top offensive, or he is a top offensive option, but not the offensive option on this team. I think it's the best player has been DeMar. Even Russ, to some extent, gets more opportunity to score than Zach, and Zach kind of sits on the back burner, which can be frustrating. But whether Zach wanted to go to Atlanta, if he goes to Milwaukee to try and, for the Bucks trying to desperately convince Giannis to stick around or whatever, I don't know what to make of Zach, because when we watch him play and when he wants to score, like he'll take these difficult step back, off balance threes, and it's nothing but net. And so you are just as pure of a pure scorer can be. But this is why Scott Perry, before he had the job, said on his podcast, like, how much does he impact winning? Because you can score the basketball and have these highlight reels that are gorgeous, but in reality, you're doing it on teams that are relatively irrelevant or don't really win. And I can make a much better argument for Domantas Sabonis impacting winning, even though he's not a scoring first center, more than I can talk about Zach Lavine impacting winning.
To your point, Matt, just real quick, he's one of 2 players with a negative 2,000 career.
Who's the other?
You probably won't be able to guess it if you want to try.
No shot. I have no idea.
It is Bismack Biyombo.
Oh, not Bismack.
Bismack Biyombo.
One guy's getting close, though. Colin Sexton, who's played 4 less seasons than Zach Lavine, is.
I liked Colin Sexton a lot in Cleveland. Anyway.
I did actually, too. I think, too, with Domas, the bright spot about Domas, if he is here for another year or two, and I heard some of the guys, I think it was maybe Maxime, after the loss or whatever, had said, like, he is a guy you can learn from.
Yeah.
You can like, he sets example. Like, he's a good pro.
Yeah.
Like, it's good sometimes to have that around the facility, around, for a while. Like, we've had all these other guys in terms of some of these shooting guards and point guards that are vets that you can learn from. No offense to Zach Lavine. I don't really know how much he's teaching some of these younger guys. Maybe he is.
I don't think so.
But to have a guy like Domas on the bench, it's not going to hurt.
No.
Overall, if he's here for another year. So.
And the point you made there, Domas on the bench, that's what's going to be interesting, is how long does Domas stay on the bench? Does he start tonight? I think he probably is going to start tonight or start sooner than later because they're easing him back in. But we'll see what Doug Christie decides to do with that. Kyle, do I have time to get TC in really quick before we go to break? All right, let's get TC in because TC wants to hop in on this conversation. Our guy TC, how was your 3-day weekend, my guy?
Man, it was nice. How was y'all's? Kayla, what's up?
What's up, TC? Yeah, we had busy. It was busy for all of us.
Right in front of the TV.
Yeah, I know. Planted in.
Yeah, man, it was a hard one for the Niners, man. But y'all know how I feel. We talking Kings though.
Yeah.
As far as the center position, I think we good, right? So I believe we good with a Dylan and a Max, and say we get a Mitchell Robertson right in this free agency. I know that was a Scott Perry guy. He's a free agent, so we signed him to a 2-year deal. So you look at the center position as Max, Dylan, and a Precious and a Mitchell Robertson moving forward, bro. That's solid. You can also flip Domas to Toronto at that point for Emmanuel Quickly, Abaji, and their first-round pick this year.
Yeah, TC, thanks for the call. I know the Raptors are the team that's interested in Domas, but what the Raptors are looking for is also kind of a contract dump trade, which if you're the Kings and you're trading Sabonis's contract, you have to take back some money.
Yeah.
But what you don't want to take back is a lot of long-term money. And when you look at Quickly's contract, RJ Barrett's contract, Jakob Poeltl's contract, you got multiple years on those suckers. So even if they're not paid nearly as much as Domantas Sabonis, you're now on the hook more for 3 players instead of just 1 player.
Correct.
So I know that would give the Kings some hesitation. Now, if the Raptors want to include some draft compensation on top of that, hey, maybe it's worth it. But what we know right now is no team wants to make
They don't want to give up draft picks.
Nobody does right now. Making trades is horrendous right now. We're actually going to talk about that because Sam Amick talked about that last week. We'll talk about that later on in the show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there was a big catastrophic injury. Poor Bay Area sports fans. I really genuinely feel bad for you. Another catastrophic injury, this time to a Golden State Warrior. How does that change the Jonathan Kuminga sweepstakes? We'll talk about it coming up next.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER. Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, sauna seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Sacramento's Outwork playlist is Mix 96. Now with 4 opportunities each weekday to be our $1,000 Employee of the Day. Today's hits and yesterday's favorites, Mix 96.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. Chris Young. Turnpike Troubadours. Dylan Scott and more. Line dancing live DJs, Mechanical Bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram Center, and Fairfield in Cal Expo. More info at CITBfest.com.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat that's been getting involved in this Domantas Sabonis conversation, even some conversation about Zach Lavine too. It's a great debate because there's not a clear path for the Sacramento Kings to success of how to do this rebuild and which guys they should keep, which guys they shouldn't. It's very clear that this combination of talent doesn't work, but Scott Perry can't realistically get rid of everybody right away. So which guys make the most sense to start this rebuild and work with going forward? That's a fair conversation. Some people seem to believe that Zach Lavine could be one of those guys if he's featured more offensively. But Scott Perry also has a saying, we want volunteers, not hostages. Yeah. And Zach Lavine is a hostage here in Sacramento. And I don't fully blame him for it. It doesn't mean that he absolutely hates it here or anything like that. But I think Zach Lavine is not fully bought into what the Sacramento Kings are trying to do here. I don't, again, necessarily blame him based off of where he's at in his career. DeMar DeRozan, I think, has been an absolute pro this entire time, but I can promise you DeMar DeRozan's not thrilled with everything that is going on here. So when we talk about Domantas Sabonis, I know Domas has taken issue with decisions that the Sacramento Kings have made over the last year and some change. He wants to be more involved in the decision-making going forward. He's kind of got to get into the back of the line in that sense because we're all looking for some clarity with the Kings' future. But when we talk about someone who short-term, in theory, could help the development of the Sacramento Kings going forward as they lean into this rebuild, it's easy to make an argument for Sabonis. I still think the Kings would try to get rid of him within the next year if they can, as long as they can get some value in return. But the Kings are not in a rush to get rid of Sabonis the same way I feel like they're in a rush to move on from Lavine.
No, and I think the point overall was trying to be made about eventually the future of this team. It's not going to be something where it's going to be built around Sabonis. Mm-hmm. It's a different type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Obviously identity, but vision.
Yeah.
There's a different type of vision here. Unfortunately, the vision that a GM has and a coach has, the vision doesn't get created overnight. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we could still have these conversations too, because these guys are still on the team. Mm-hmm. So they're not all going to go at one time. They're going to slowly be trickled out. So if we're going to compare like a Zach Lavine to a Domas right now who goes first, I think it's better overall for probably a guy like Lavine with that contract as well to be moved out, and then we take it from there.
At the same time, though, Kayla, you're not going to move on from all of them right now, even if you would want to. But you got to move on from somebody.
Yeah.
And with the trade deadline getting closer and closer, I understand right now trades are not easy to make in the NBA today because of these aprons and teams being scared and everything like that. I understand. But that's that's the hand you've been dealt. If you're Scott Perry, you know you have to make moves. This is part of the mess that you inherited, to be fair. It's not entirely his mess that he has to clean up, but you're being paid, you're being brought in to clean up this mess and to right the ship.
Yeah.
So you got to get this started at the trade deadline. One of these guys, whether it's DeRozan, Lavine, Sabonis, Russ, who I don't think is going anywhere, like one of those four guys has to be gone at this trade deadline, or Kings fans are going to be rightfully upset.
And I would get why they would be upset, because the longer that you have some of these pieces sitting around here, the more so you're not going to be able to start the rebuild, the complete rebuild. And the sooner that starts, the shorter it's going to be to maybe see some of the results. Like, it's still going to be a minute. Mm-hmm. Let's be in reality of this situation right now. It's not going to happen overnight, but until one of these pieces move, we can't start getting the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And so will it happen with a team like Golden State possibly?
Well, it's a nice segue too, because the Kings have their problems, and they're not a very good basketball team. But the Golden State Warriors have some serious problems now. I mean, they already had problems with what to do with Jonathan Kuminga and how to reopen this title window, if at all, one last time for Steph Curry and company. Now Jimmy Butler goes down. Season-ending injury for Jimmy Butler. Just brutal, man, just brutal. Because regardless of, like we have this, whether it's big brother, little brother, jealousy relationship, whatever you want to call it, between the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors, and there's no there's no doubt in my mind that the sharpness that I have towards the Warriors organization is very little brother, is very based in jealousy because of the amazing stuff that they've built over there and the amazing dynasty that's really coming to an end over there. But no one wants to see something like this happen. Jimmy, torn right ACL. I mean, that's a catastrophic injury for anybody, but especially someone who is in the latter parts of their career like Jimmy is. And the question is, like, what do the Warriors do from here? And the question that we're really interested in is, what does this mean for the Jonathan Kuminga sweepstakes? Because if the Kings were looking to get involved in a deal with the Warriors, which they have been involving Jonathan Kuminga, it's not like there's a lot or anything really on this roster that the Sacramento Kings could offer the Warriors that they feel good about replacing Jimmy Butler with. Like, maybe there's a little more of a stomach in Golden State now for DeMar DeRozan than there was before.
Right.
But DeMar defensively is not close to making up for what they lost in Jimmy. The other part of that question too, Kayla, and you can pick whichever one of these routes you want to go with, because I genuinely don't know. Do you now look at Kuminga and go, look, bygones be bygones. This is a catastrophic injury at your position. All hands on deck, brother. We'll figure this out in the summertime. We need you. Let's finish this season out strong. Can you mend the bridge enough temporarily to do that?
It's amazing if you're really good at business and putting bygones be bygones in terms of an organization, it's almost like you have to try.
Yeah.
And I know it is ugly, and this is at least what we've seen from the outside looking in. It doesn't look pretty, but you know this for sure. The players support Jonathan Kuminga. Mm-hmm. The players have been nothing but supportive of what he has done in terms of handling himself.
Yeah.
It's more so, how stubborn is Steve Kerr going to be about Jonathan Kuminga and giving him an opportunity now that there is an opening in a way. Mm-hmm. And that I can't give you the answer to 100% because Kerr is who Kerr is, and he could go either way at this point. What's the priority, though, coming above him?
Yeah.
Is that going to be something where it's like, sorry, Steve, suck it up. You and Kuminga don't have a thing, but we need him.
He's
a body. And yes, we'll figure it out when the season's done. I can almost see them going more that route, but then again, we've seen this strained from somewhat the beginning.
Kayla, Kyle, let's work together on this. How do the Sacramento Kings use this situation to their benefit? Because it's a curveball completely thrown in the Golden State Warriors season. They've already been up against a timeline that the Sacramento Kings don't have the same timeline with. The Kings have been here going, hey, we're willing to facilitate a Jonathan Kuminga trade. We're the only one that's really seriously willing to do it. I understand we're offering what you might not be too interested in. Is it as simple as, hey, maybe DeMar DeRozan enters the conversation? Malik Monk being there doesn't change anything in terms of Jimmy Butler, so I wouldn't say they're now more open to taking Malik Monk. But how aggressively do the Sacramento Kings go to the Brooklyn Nets and go, look, they need Michael Porter Jr. now. They need him. Let's work together to make sure we can get Michael Porter Jr. over there. We want Kuminga coming back. We're not involving any of our draft compensation, but what do we have to do to facilitate this trade? If I'm Scott Perry, I'm engaging. I'm starting that conversation with all sides and saying, Warriors, you need to get this across the finish line. Brooklyn, you can benefit from this right now. We want Jonathan Kuminga. We all want/need something here. Let's get this done.
Yeah, it's not just about what do we need, right? Or what do they, like, it can be a full circle situation right now, like you said, involving a couple different teams. And what I feel comfortable about, and Kyle, you can get in terms of the trade pieces, but what I feel comfortable about is we know that Scott Perry probably, unfortunately, was on the phone the minute that he heard this news.
Yeah.
And probably is still on the phone right now as we're speaking, trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
I think if anybody can try to make it work, like Perry's going to try to make it work, but it's the other teams that you get involved. Can you make that happen with those pieces?
Specifically as it relates to the Jimmy Butler thing, I don't think the Kings are the team specifically to help them out unless it's Sabonis getting moved and taking Jimmy's contract. But if you're the Kings, just stay the course of being willing partners to facilitate the Kuminga move, right? Because any realistic trade the Warriors make has to move Kuminga. So if you're the Kings, just stay the course of we're willing to help facilitate as a third team for Kuminga. But other than that, I don't think the Kings can really do all that much in response to Jimmy. It's kind of just, are the Warriors now extra motivated to make a move?
Listeners, you have a quick homework assignment. We're going to break. I'm going to jump immediately into trade machines if you want to do so as well. Let's find a way to make this 3-team deal happen, to get them Michael Porter Jr., who they desperately need, the Warriors, and find a way to bring Kuminga to Sacramento. How do the Sacramento Kings capitalize on this moment and apply the pressure when the Warriors desperately need to make something happen to potentially save their season? We'll see what we can come up with coming up after the break.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable scent boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppable beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now, the more you buy, the more you save on beds, bases, and more. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at the Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
We've been busy on the trade machine during this break trying to figure out a deal to make a 3-team trade happen to send Michael Porter Jr. to the Golden State Warriors, bring Jonathan Kuminga to Sacramento finally, but ultimately help the Warriors, who their season is in turmoil right now with the catastrophic loss for the rest of the season to Jimmy Butler. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was already on the Warriors' radar, and that was like, we'd like to go out and get him. He would improve our team. Now it's like we need someone to replace Jimmy, and Porter Jr. is likely the best option that's out there. And the Sacramento Kings don't really have anything on their roster that fills that Jimmy Butler void for them, so the Kings shouldn't even try. Yeah. But they can be the one to facilitate this 3-team deal and say, all right, Warriors, you need this to happen. We're going to take the initiative on this. Let's get Brooklyn on the phone and let's figure something out. Kyle, you came up with something on the trade machine here, and you have Michael Porter Jr. and Haywood Hugh Smith going to the Golden State Warriors. You have the Nets getting Moses Moody, Malik Monk, Buddy Hield, a 2026 Golden State Warriors first-round pick, top 10 protected. The Warriors absolutely, it's in 2029, by the way. The Warriors absolutely have to include draft compensation now to get this across the finish line if they want Porter Jr., because everybody knows they're desperate. I don't know how far in advance they'd want to do it. 2029 is likely post-Curry, so on some hand they're like, we don't care because Curry's gone. But on the other hand, post-Curry, the Warriors are probably bad, so that 2029 pick might be good. I wonder if it would be more enticing to the Warriors to really go all in this season and go, we're including this season's first-round pick because we're going for it. And we expect that to be outside of the lottery anyways, because we expect to be a play-in team at the very, very worst. So we're going to eat the repercussions of this trade immediately. We don't want this to drag out. If that's what I would do if I were the Warriors and I were including a pick in this. And then the Kings would receive Jonathan Kuminga in this deal. The only thing that I think the Nets balk at is Michael Porter Jr. is having a really, really good year. His value is the highest I think it's ever going to be. And essentially taking back 3 guards, Moody, Monk, and Hield, plus 1 first for it, I think they could do better elsewhere, even if they hold on to him.
The other part, too, is you can facilitate Buddy Hield going somewhere else, too.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have time to put that all together, but yeah, Buddy Hield doesn't have to stay. He can get sent somewhere else for a second-round pick, or they can attach a second-round pick or something.
The real problem in these conversations, Kayla, is what the Kings have been running into the entire time. Sacramento just doesn't have the big piece to get this across the finish line, and Keon Ellis isn't paid enough to be that guy.
It's like they have all the hors d'oeuvres, but they don't have like
Entree.
the big meaty deal for dinner.
All these appetizers.
All
Give me the
these
entree.
appetizers, because every single trade scenario that we kind of lay out there, we always put like, oh, DeMar's like the first guy we always speak about, right? Just because the contract is friendlier than obviously a guy like Zach Lavine and Domantas Sabonis. But every single one, it pretty much brings in Malik Monk as a sweetener part of it. Like, he's not a full, like, meaty deal. Like, he's just kind of an appetizer hors d'oeuvre. Or Keon Ellis is in the mix sometimes too. But it's just like, these aren't pieces that are highly, like, really needed for different teams. You just laid out the Golden State Warriors, and they don't really, that's not a fit. DeMar DeRozan's not a fit.
Yeah.
None of these pieces are really for a fit right now if they just want to win with a piece like, him going down and Jimmy Butler.
I would say the way the DeMar DeRozan thing has changed slightly is DeMar should never really have been on the Warriors' radar because it didn't make sense next to Jimmy Butler or anything like that.
Okay.
But now that Jimmy's gone, if they need something, DeMar's not a terrible option because he's experienced and defensively there's a drop-off. He's a pro. I think DeMar DeRozan could do good things for the Golden State Warriors, don't get me wrong. But if the question is Michael Porter Jr. or DeMar DeRozan, 100% it's Michael Porter Jr. But the Warriors trying to get MPJ when his value, again, is the highest I think it's ever going to be right now. And if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you absolutely have to leverage both how well he's playing and his current value, and you have to leverage the situation that both the Warriors and the Kings are in, because the Warriors desperately need somebody right now, and the Kings want Kuminga. So if you're the Nets, like, you're sitting in a power position here where it's just like more, and and maybe Brooklyn's going to Sacramento too and going, hey, we need one of your picks to get this done as well, and that likely is the deal breaker for Perry.
Yeah, because with Kuminga, again, we go back to in the past week and a half or so, it's been said by many of the insiders that he is just, in terms of Kuminga, he doesn't have much interest around the league except for in Sacramento. And it's like, that is clearly the one piece right now that Golden State is willing to get out of there. So I feel like no matter what, the Kings kind of have to be involved in the situation.
The Brooklyn Nets experienced the trading of Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks, where they got, I think it was 3 or 4 first-round picks in that deal. They got 5? Oh, my God.
5 first-round picks?
I mean, in fairness, they weren't great first-round picks.
But regardless, they're multiple firsts.
Yeah.
We have entered, because of the new CBA and this apron system, we have entered a time where nobody wants to spend money. And the trading of draft picks for any team, even contenders, is like, draft picks are arguably the most valuable thing that you can trade, because you're trading there's no monetary value attached to that, and there's the excitement of the unknown. We never know what that draft pick's going to be. It's like a car. When you drive a car off the lot, it immediately becomes less valuable. Right, a draft pick becomes less valuable when you make that selection.
Yeah.
Truth be told, even if it's the number 1 overall pick, as soon as you put a player and their contract in place of that draft pick, because of the situation we're in, that becomes less valuable. But I wonder if I'm Scott Perry and I'm going back to the Brooklyn Nets when they go, Kings, we need one of your picks as well. If you're Scott Perry, you can look what Trae Young got. Nothing. Atlanta got nothing.
And that's the biggest
Young.
piece that's really been moved.
Right. And there are other, look at John Morant is not, the Grizzlies are not going to get a haul of first-round picks for John Morant. So you can't expect multiple firsts for Michael Porter Jr. 1 first in this trade landscape might be a good haul. And that's how the market has changed.
It has changed, and we're seeing it just because of the lack of movement. I mean, there's just none. And we might see some here in the next couple of weeks before the February 5th deadline.
Yeah.
But you're right. This is also, when you're working as a GM, this is the tone that's been set. So you're right. If you got a team that's saying, hey, we want multiple firsts, And they're like, no, look at around. What? There's no movement.
Yeah.
Like, no one's doing anything. So you want to make a move or not?
Yeah.
And this is where we could see Scott Perry, who has said, like, he's going to stay the course. We could see some interesting things out of him if there is a move made, like just being, you got to be patient. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like this is the time where other teams' things happen, and maybe that goes in your favor.
I don't think Jonathan Kuminga's getting traded unless it's in the final like hour or seconds of the deadline. And the reason why is because the Warriors clearly have their sights set on Michael Porter Jr. And if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you are taking that sucker all the way up until the buzzer just to see if somebody else works their way into the sweepstakes for MPJ, who's one of the hottest trade chips out there right now. Yep. MPJ, there are reservations that I have about his game, for sure. But he's an NBA champion, whether you want to say he was carried by the Nuggets to that championship or not. He's an NBA champion, he's valuable, and he's having an incredible season right now. Granted, it's for a bad team, but if you're the Nets, you might not be able to get more than one first-round pick right now. And I think it would be silly of the Nets to hold on to him and hope for more this summer, because I don't think his value is ever going to be higher than it is right now.
Good point.
But if you feel like you're not going to get multiple firsts unless you are really playing on the desperation of the Warriors or some other team in the final seconds of the deadline. So I'm saying Kings fans, like Scott Perry should be picking up the phone and facilitating these conversations again. But don't hold your breath, because these conversations are going to go right up to the buzzer. January 15th be damned at this point.
We did say the same thing last year about Cam Johnson. It was like they can't possibly ask for Devin Carter for Cam Johnson, and then they held it to the summer, and they got their unprotected pick and Michael Porter, so it worked out for him last time.
It did work out for them then. I just don't know. Like, MPJ's reputation around the league has never been great. It's always been fine, and he's played himself to a position where now contenders are like, I want him. Are we ever truly going to get back to that position again? Especially during, like, this last summer was not a buyer's market at all. Everybody was afraid to spend money and to trade. And the Brooklyn Nets are looking for future assets right now. They're not looking for win-now talent for Michael Porter Jr., or they would just keep him.
The chances that Kuminga is given an opportunity to stay in Golden State are?
High.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the stubbornness of the Warriors,
plus
bare minimum, he's a body at that position.
Exactly.
He's not Jimmy Butler. He's clearly not part of your future, but you're looking to trade a player at Jimmy's position for a better player at Jimmy's position. You know how difficult that is to do?
Very hard, especially in the landscape right now.
Right.
Where I'm stuck on the Kuminga part, though, is at this point, if they did keep him and tried it, are the Warriors really going to accept a $26 million team option on him next year? Because if they decline it, he will leave in free agency. So the Warriors are kind of in that awkward position of we could lose him for nothing, and they accepted that as a possibility last year.
What's more important, giving Steph the best chance to win and putting our pride aside regardless, or putting ourselves in a better position next summer when, who knows? Like, it's not like the Golden State Warriors. I'd be really concerned if the Golden State Warriors were like a top 3-4 seed and they just lost one of their stars, and now it's like your season could completely spiral. Like, they're a play-in team right now.
Yeah.
But they're trying to maximize Steph as soon as possible. So it's a good point, Kyle. It's a great question, too. But if they feel like right now they can get what they need to put themselves in the best position, and Michael Porter Jr. might be that, the player that they need to put themselves in the best position to make a push, like, do you do it for Steph or do you do it for your future? I think the answer should be and will be they're going to do it for Steph.
Yeah, that's what it pretty much has always been.
I don't know. I disagree. They haven't traded the picks yet. No matter how much they've talked about the Steph window is closing, they still own all of their picks going forward. So they've never been willing to do that all-in move.
I'm just going to throw this out there because I heard Jason Ross talk about this on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross this morning. If you're the Warriors, do you pick up the phone, call the Lakers, and go, let's talk LeBron?
Oh, they've been trying.
How do I do that? How do I? And if that is the ultimate all-in, I will include multiple second or multiple first rounders and whatever it takes to get this done. Let's bring LeBron here. Let's go blaze of glory. If it doesn't work, whatever. We ended Steph Curry's era. We ended the dynasty pairing LeBron and Steph together.
Everyone kind of wants to see it.
I would hate it from the sense of seeing LeBron in a Golden State Warriors jersey, But the chaos alone, it's got me invested.
It's going to create chaos. Hey, it's one thing they want right now because it's boring otherwise. There's been nothing happening in terms of the trade, so
LeBron's shut it down. LeBron's shut it down in the past. Do you think he has the ability to do that now? I don't know.
LeBron's playing on Luka Doncic's team, and I think he and everybody else knows it. But we will see. This is a fun conversation. The conversation's not going to end, but we are going to switch gears. When we come back, it's the lunch break, which is the time for you to call in. So if you want to weigh in on these conversations, you want to weigh in on what the Kings should do, the Jonathan Kuminga conversation, Domantas Sabonis' future in Sacramento, you can do that. Plus, we're going to talk Niners again, and we're really going to dive into what's next for the Niners. I'm fascinated to hear what Kayla has to say about this. It's coming up in just a second.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you, gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center this Friday through Sunday. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Halfway through the show on this busy Tuesday after a very fun 3-day weekend that had so much sports in it that even Kayla said, I got to get out of here. I got to take a walk and get away from my screen. And of course, I chose to spend time away from my TV screen watching sports to watch an even bigger screen of the films that I've seen a billion times in my lifetime. Saw the 25th anniversary showings of a couple of the Lord of the Rings films in theaters, which was an awesome experience.
Seems like it.
But naturally, shocking, Kayla, believe it or not, when you start talking Kings and a potential Jonathan Kuminga trade, the reaction's crazy.
People want to get involved.
People always want to get involved, including one of our loyal commenters here watching on our YouTube chat and watching on our YouTube stream. If you go to YouTube right now, if you're listening at your cubicle, you can watch this show. You can see Kayla and try and not look at me. But the best case put out he's at the best case on YouTube. I don't know which, maybe your name's Case. I don't know. He throws out an interesting possible trade scenario here. What if you go to the Warriors if you're the Kings and go, look, it's not the most ideal for you. It's not the most ideal for us. Circumstances have changed. You send Domantas Sabonis and you send DeMar DeRozan to the Golden State Warriors. You take Jimmy Butler's contract back, and he has 1 year left, but he's going to be out for a long period of time. His contract, I think he's being paid like $52 or $53 million next year or something like that. Just this ridiculous 2-year deal that the Warriors signed him to, a 2-year, $110 million deal. He's making $56.8 million next year. I know it doesn't involve Kuminga, has nothing to do with Jonathan Kuminga, which has been the center of these Kings-Warriors conversations. But you take on one bad, very expensive, hurt year of of Butler, but you get off of both DeRozan and Sabonis' money, and in short term, immediately you free up both of those spots for your young guys to then play, and you get 2 of those 4 veterans we talked about out at the trade deadline. I don't hate it.
So it is a tough one because it is more so the way that I think. It's always like, okay, what are we getting right now? You're getting a injured Jimmy Butler, right? In a contract where, like you said, the money-wise it might make sense. Yeah. So it's hard to like say as Scott Perry, again, I'm not Scott Perry. I wish I was a fly on the wall right now in his situation. It's not completely out of the question. Mm-hmm. But I then just feel like, in a way, you're saying we're just doing this to get anybody off the books. Yeah. And it's because I'm saying this about Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, it's a salary
including
dump.
This.
It's a salary dump.
Right. And that is really, it's hard to comprehend that, but business is business. And if he feels like that is the best way because he really just needs 2 big contracts out of the way. Not saying Scott Perry wouldn't do it. I don't feel like he would do that.
I agree with you.
But I get where it's coming from. That's very creative.
If you're talking like the best case scenario at moving on from like just getting this money off the books, that might be exactly what you have to do. Mm-hmm. If you're Scott Perry, you're probably going, I'm not doing that at all unless I'm getting some sort of draft compensation or whatever in return, to which I don't think the Warriors do it at that point because it's not like the Warriors are asking for DeMar and Sabonis. I think this is just an option that you could make available to them that wouldn't have to involve a third team like Brooklyn if they don't want to play ball with Michael Porter Jr. These are the type of scenarios that the Sacramento Kings are looking at if they're ultimately trying to dump salary. Is you're not going to get the bet. Well, I mean, Jimmy Butler's a really, really good player, but you're getting a wounded Jimmy Butler who's going to get paid to essentially stay home. That's what he's going to do.
That's really hard as a GM to see.
100%. It's so if you're, and again, we just talked about earlier in the last hour, like the value of Domantas Sabonis, and you don't just want to get rid of him for what you can get rid of him for. But this is where if you're trying to just get off of contracts and wipe the books clean to start, those are the kind of moves that you have to consider. Again, I don't hate it. I don't think Scott Perry does it.
No.
But it's something that's another route that the Kings could go. It feels like helping out the Warriors a little too much, but hey, it's there.
And that's where that comes into play too, right? The business between the Warriors and the Kings is a little different.
Yeah.
Hence why I think the movement over there is a lot more, they're not moving a lot of things along with the Kings, partly because of the egos that are involved in this type of a situation with a rival. And not a rival in that way, but you know what I'm saying, just up the interstate.
If you got either this year or next year's draft picks from the Warriors, let's call it top 10 protected.
Okay.
If you got that, does that change it for you? You got one first round pick to essentially dump Sabonis into Rosen.
Well, and Kuminga.
Well, no, Kuminga's not coming back in this deal.
Not in this scenario.
No, that's what I know.
In this scenario, it's not Kuminga. You're swapping DeMar and Domas for. Actually, wait a minute.
I think our friend, the best case, had them getting JK.
Did he?
Then.
Well, if I misread it,
I
don't think he had that in there. That changes a lot.
Yeah, that changes a lot for me too.
Yeah, he said Sabonis and DeMar to Warriors for Butler, JK, 2 first-round pick, maybe 3.
Oh, well, you're never getting 2 first-round picks, maybe 3. Like that's not happening. Not happening at all.
All right, so call it 1.
So if you can get 1 for then you do it.
Yes.
I think if you can get, that changes things because I don't know if the Kings can realistically expect to get 1 in addition to moving out those 2 contracts, because the Warriors would be on the hook for the rest of Sabonis' contract and DeMar DeRozan's $10 million guaranteed next year. That's a lot of money for them to take on at a time that they don't want to take on money. You're getting Kuminga back in the deal, which is the player that you wanted all along. You're paying Jimmy for a year to just kick his feet up. Good for Jimmy. I don't know how you
take your time on the rehab.
I don't know how you could ask for a first-round pick realistically and get that. I don't know if I would say no to JK and Jimmy for DeMar and Domas straight up if you could do that. I don't know if it works, but, I mean, again, these are the kind of conversations you got to have.
Yeah, again, you're getting something in return, right? Something. Besides the injured Jimmy Butler.
It might be the only way to get JK here without having to include draft compensation, which we know ultimately the Kings don't want to do. And if you can do this without having to include any draft picks, might be the best case scenario. Might be the best case scenario if you're the Kings.
The trade machine, it works.
Oh.
So let's throw the question out there. This is the lunch break segment. If you want to call in, you want to text in. The deal is Sabonis and DeRozan to the Warriors for Jimmy's contract. He's essentially got 1 year left at $58 million or something like that. You're just paying him to stay home, and Jonathan Kuminga. You move on from 2 veterans. You get the young player that you've
Interesting
wanted.
Question.
I think it puts the Sacramento Kings on a better path to rebuild.
I'm doing it.
Then I think I'm doing it too. I think I'm doing it too.
I'm in.
Are we crazy? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know if we're crazy.
Comment section if you want to weigh in. If you want to call in 916-339-1140 or 800-920-1140. That might be a good one to put out on social media. I'm going to do that. I'm going to type up a tweet and put that out on social media, and we'll see how people weigh in on that, because I think it's going to be more negative than positive, I imagine.
I know, because it's hard for people to go just give up something that big in terms of Domas and even DeMar. But you got to think of the future, and you got to start building somewhere.
Well, maybe that's the other side of it, because I don't know if I would do it as just presented as a straight up, but are they better off just moving the money now? Or because the money, except for Sabonis, is going to expire after 2027. So are you better moving the money now or spending this time rebuilding Domantas Sabonis' value to potentially trade him for future picks down the line?
In theory, Sabonis is easier to trade when there's less years on his deal.
Yeah.
But every year that number goes up. And Sabonis is going to be playing on a bad basketball team for the next couple of years. Let's just be honest.
By the way, he's not been healthy.
No, he's not been healthy. Maybe he puts up numbers on a bad basketball. Maybe he can do to increase his value what MPJ has done in Brooklyn, but there's always going to be that looming contract. And if you have an opportunity to get rid of that looming contract for a player that you've wanted in Jonathan Kuminga, it's not the most ideal scenario, but that's the point. In this trade market, with how bad it is because of these aprons, you might have to do. I don't even know if the Warriors would do it. The Warriors might go, ew. But if they have no better options and we get to the trade deadline, it might be the best thing that they could get. So it knocks a third team out of the deal. I don't know.
What's the chat saying? Do we got anything?
Well,
in the chat
we
right
have
now?
some people on the line. It looks like Lawrence wants to weigh in here during the lunch break. Lawrence, are you calling about this trade that we've come up with to call us idiots, or are you calling about something else?
No, I support that trade wholeheartedly. I think more so it's more that I think the Warriors might not even do that, but I think that would be great. That would reset the books. I think that it's a great proposition, and I think even Butler coming back next year, having him on the books, if he's coming back mid-season, if he's back and he could actually play, you could trade him again, and that would be a very viable asset to a team looking to contend next year. I think that would be a great deal and would be a perfect reset. Also, great to hear you up on the radio, Matt. Great job listening to the Locked On Pod for a long time. Good to hear you.
Lawrence, appreciate it so much. Hey, it's nice for some people to be on the same page as us. I think Lawrence is a little more optimistic about what Jimmy could be for the Sacramento Kings next season. I think
it's an ACL, right?
It
takes about 9 months.
Yeah, so it's not like he's done for the rest of this year and all of next year. But if I'm the Sacramento Kings, Jimmy, take your time, buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe be a presence on the sideline, teach these young guys. Like, it'd be another good guy to have in the locker room. But Jimmy, hey man, you don't have to play until minimum, like after December minimum. Take your time, and then if there is any value for you, like Lawrence said, and someone wants to make one, hey, maybe you can turn it into something down the road. But just like we're experiencing right now, trading 56, 58, whatever it is, I forgot about it already, $56 million worth of salary. That's not easy to do.
No.
So you might just be, hey, we're just going to pay you out your final year, Jimmy. Kick your feet up and maybe get some run in towards the end of the season.
So Kimberly was saying, and this is fair because we have plenty of Warrior fans in the area, plenty more Sacramento Kings fans. But Kimberly was saying in the chat, she was like, I'm just interested in what Warriors fans feel. Would they do this trade? Because we just heard him say that he doesn't even think Warriors would do it. So if you are a Warriors fan, we encourage you to call in because I'm interested in what you think too.
I am putting this poll out on Twitter right now, and that's everybody's nice on Twitter. So I'm sure. And,
so nice.
Warrior
right?
fans follow me, so I'm sure they'll weigh in on this. I want to make sure I get this right. Warriors get Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan. Kings get Jimmy Butler and Jonathan. Yeah, Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga. All right, I'm hitting post, and we'll see what people say. Hopefully they're not too mean to us. But it looks like Zach is on the line wanting to weigh in. Zach. Oh, I'm trying to get you on. Zach.
Yeah.
There you are. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, I just got a different thought process about this. You know, when we moved Fox, we didn't get the best draft compensation back in that trade.
True.
And, a lot of people say that was a loss of a trade. If I'm Golden State and I'm coming up on Domantas Sabonis and the last couple years of DeMar DeRozan, you're getting rid of the Jonathan Kuminga issues, and you're dumping Butler, that's absolutely a win for Golden State. I'm a Kings fan. I'd rather see them move Domas and at least get some sort of pick or some sort of rebuilding package, maybe from the East Coast, Charlotte, another desperate team. I don't know. I just don't see the benefit of doing that. You're pretty much betting on Jonathan Kuminga being a star.
Yes, you're 100% right, Zach. You're basing this on I'm trading away a talent of Domantas Sabonis because I'm getting the young player that I like in Kuminga back. And this goes beyond, like, I believe Kuminga could work to I believe Jonathan Kuminga will be a piece of success. You have to feel pretty strongly in Jonathan Kuminga if you make this deal, if you're Perry, because if Kuminga doesn't work out here in Sacramento in a couple of years, regardless of the circumstances of where this team is at right now, you're looking at Domantas Sabonis and going, you probably even in that market would have done better or been better off waiting and keeping him around. So I hear what Zach is saying 100%.
I hear too, and that's what we just don't know exactly Scott Perry's feelings on, okay, how much do we really feel like we could at least use something of Domas in the next couple of years? Like, we're not desperate to get him out, but we are rebuilding. So where's that fine line?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the line that's like pretty cut and dry of saying we're fully going in right now on we see something in Kuminga that we can develop. Not saying he's going to be the star of the team, but he can be one of the stars of the team. And we're willing to kind of be like, this is the old, out with the old, in with what we think is going to help the new.
We have a lot of people tuning in, wanting to jump in on this conversation. So we put together this trade. I can't even say we. It was the best case on our text line or your chat line on YouTube. Put this out there, and I think it's phenomenally interesting. And if you're a Warrior fan too and you're listening and you want to weigh in, we would love to hear from you. Yes or no? Who says no? The Kings send Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan to Golden State. Sabonis has 2 years, I think, or 2 or 3 years left on his deal. He's a pretty hefty contract. DeMar DeRozan has only 1 year left on his deal, but it's only $10 million partially guaranteed for next season. and the Kings take back Kuminga, who they've wanted all along, and Jimmy Butler's contract at, I just got to get this number and keep it open because I think it's
just write
between
it down
56
in
and
front of you.
$58 million. Matt, if you could remember. So it's Jimmy and Kuminga for DeMar and Domas. Straight up, it works. No picks involved.
Yep.
Warriors go for it. Kings get the young guy and get off of 2 contracts and 2 veterans. They take Jimmy back, but Jimmy's going to be kicking it at home. Do you do it? Yes or no? Looks like Bill wants to weigh in. Bill, welcome into the show.
Hey, nice for you guys to take my call. I think that would be great because Sabonis would still be in the area so he can play with his grapes in Napa Valley. He's a great player, but it's tough to build around him because you have to adjust the rest of your roster to kind of compensate for him not being a true center.
Yep.
Very good point.
You're right, Bill. And truth be told, like the Warriors' offense, I'm not saying the Warriors are a perfect fit for Domantas Sabonis, but the Warriors' offense has always been fluid, mobile, and just imagine Steph Curry, who's already elusive and you have to chase him around the court, running him off of a couple Domantas Sabonis DHOs just to free him up. Like, Domantas Sabonis makes sense for the Golden State Warriors if they're willing to foot that bill. And it is a significant commitment.
It's a hefty bill.
By the way, I have it open. I'm leaving it open. Jimmy Butler's $56.8 million next season. Like, Domantas Sabonis' contract is hefty. Again, they can get off, only pay DeMar $10 million next year and move on from that. So it's not like they're on the book for 2 highly paid guys. But Domantas Sabonis' contract is pretty hefty, and they have to feel pretty confident that Sabonis can work for them somewhat long-term to maximize the opportunity for Steph, this isn't Steph's last year. He's going to play next year, we believe.
Right.
So I just don't know if the Warriors can hope for better if they're trying to maximize right now. Yeah, there's 2 years left on Sabonis' deal. $45.4 million next year, $48.6 the final year. It's a hefty contract, and we know the Warriors were hesitant to take Malik Monk's money back, but that was before they lost Jimmy Butler to this catastrophic injury. So circumstances have changed. This is a possibility that's out there, and boy, would this be a fun blockbuster if it went down.
So, real quick, remind me on this, what was at one time the connection with Domas going to the Warriors? There was some sort of interest with the Warriors and, with the Kings. And I don't know what part of the season it was, but I know at some point that had occurred.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
it was brief, but
I always remember it. I consider it in the same way almost. It's like Charlotte's interested in Domantas Sabonis.
Right, so
it's
just kind of like little words out there, nothing concrete.
I think it's a mixture of 2 things. If you're monitoring the center market, they know Domas is out there. And in terms of the highest tier of center that you can realistically get, Domas is there.
Yeah.
The problem is he's also paid like it.
Right.
So you're paying him.
And then I think he got hurt kind of right around that time that there was like a little bit of, not smoke, but sparks?
At least conversation or just a whisper out there.
Exactly.
Plus the Kings and Warriors have been connected for months involving Jonathan Kuminga,
Yes.
so maybe that was another route to
Yes.
potentially. But like we just talked about, is not easy to build around Domantas Sabonis. So you're trying to find the right system and the right players around him. And Golden State is a area where you can plug Sabonis in, and he can make it. You can see it working.
Make it happen. Yeah,
you can see it making sense because Domas, he's an insanely important part of what the Warriors do if they trade for him. But he's not top guy, right? It's still Steph, obviously. Domas can score his 17 to 20 points a game and just be fine there. Like he jumps, I guess, Draymond Green in the scoring order. And then you bring DeMar DeRozan in as well to be a second scoring option for Curry for at least this year's playoff run.
The Warriors are definitely the ones benefiting, right?
Yeah.
So I'll put
Short
that out
term,
there.
for sure.
Short term, the Warriors are benefiting. The Kings are not in the same boat as the Warriors. Their vision right now is very different from what the Kings is. The Warriors and Kings vision different right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say 1v1, like this team is getting more out of it, but there's a longer term goal right now for the Kings, and to be able to start moving down that road, I think that's where you have to be a little bit more open-minded about something like this, because it is more thinking down the road, how is it going to benefit you?
Yeah. For a great question from our comment section on YouTube. Matt, you're okay with Jimmy Butler at $56 million and Zach Lavine $49 million on the books next year? yes, I know the Kings are going to still try and move on from Zach Lavine, and I think the Kings would try and shop both of those guys at the deadline next year, of course. But yes, because after those years, they're done. Both of those are expiring deals. Yep. Unlike Domantas Sabonis, who will have another year after that. Right. Plus, you don't have to worry about paying DeMar DeRozan his $10 million. And maybe Zach plays, maybe he doesn't. Jimmy doesn't play for at least half the season, more than likely, because the Kings are going to let him take his time coming back, at least in my scenario, in my hypothetical scenario. So you're getting a lot of opportunity for playing time for the young guys. There's nobody in front of Max and Dylan, and hopefully the Kings get a high draft pick this year. So it's Keegan, it's that high draft pick, it's Zach Lavine out there getting buckets, and yeah, like I can sit through that for a year because that makes sense to the rebuild more than what the Kings are trying to do right now, at least in my mind. So
we wouldn't have this conversation if there would have been maybe even one move by now.
Sure.
But unfortunately, this is the conversation you have to start having when there's no moves to be had yet.
If you're gonna take advantage of this Jimmy Butler situation, this is one way the Kings.
This is what happens.
That's one way the Kings potentially can. Jason wants to weigh in. Jason, welcome into the show, my friend. How are you?
Hey, happy Tuesday. How we doing?
Very good, very good.
So I think the Warriors are going to go all in. They're going to put all their chips on the table, and I think you nailed it earlier on the show, Matt. I think they're going to go with a LeBron or Giannis conversation. It's just now or never at this point, and I think you got DeRozan, Ellis, and Sabonis that you can offer to the Lakers. Sabonis on the Warriors, I think that's just an awkward pairing, especially with Draymond Green and the whole Stomp situation.
They'll be best friends.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jason, thank you so much for the call. I'm kind of with Jason in the sense that, like, would anybody really blame the Warriors at the end of this amazing dynasty that they've had? Just go blaze of glory.
Right.
Like, it probably not the smartest thing in the world to say, hey, let's take 3 first-round picks and make sure we can get LeBron or Giannis. Well, Giannis is very different than LeBron. LeBron's sunsetting. Giannis is still very much in his prime. So the Warriors would
That's
have
a little
to
different. Yeah.
completely sacrifice all of their future to make that happen. But LeBron, like, that's in a different category. If you offered 2 first-round picks and whatever it took to get LeBron here to Golden State, and you just 2 final years of whatever the hell this is and let it go, like, I would appreciate
that's
the blaze
entertaining
of glory.
for us to say.
It's blaze of glory,
right,
man.
Right. I don't know if that's necessarily a conversation going into the front office at Golden State, but my goodness, would it make for another type of storyline like when Luka was brought over there for nothing?
And honestly, you're doing that because you actually believe that those two could win with, Draymond and LeBron are best buddies.
Yeah.
Like, LeBron, he's not what he was. We know this.
No.
But if you were to tell me from the trade deadline on, the Warriors have Draymond, LeBron, and Steph Curry on their team, that team probably should avoid the play-in. That team is probably a playoff team. And I'm not saying they're not I'm not saying they're unbeatable or anything like that, but that's not an easy team to beat 4 times in a playoff series. So do it for the entertainment value.
We need some right now.
If nothing else, I would be at least invested in that. I don't think the Warriors do that either. I don't know if LeBron even wants to do that because it has to be LeBron's approval. But
of course it does.
I certainly would be intrigued if the Warriors decided, you know what, YOLO. Do
you
they still
only
say
live
that?
Once, baby.
Do they still say YOLO?
I don't think they do, but we'll bring it back.
We're bringing it back.
back.
And we're bringing Tyler on right now to weigh in on this conversation. Tyler, how are you, brother?
Hey, good afternoon. Good to hear you both on the radio now. Having fun with that. I just wanted to circle back to this Sabonis to the Warriors idea and something the previous caller brought up there. But this concept of him and Draymond playing together, I just don't see it, and I just don't see that being a fit. I hear everybody talk about it on paper and everything, but reality is, how would those two fit on the court together?
It's a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very fair question. That might be the problem with Domantas Sabonis, period. It's just like,
Isn't that tough that we're having to bring this up every time, though? Because it's maybe not a fit.
No matter what, whatever conversation around Domantas Sabonis is always going to involve fit. It's always going to involve fit. Like, how do you fit Sabonis in? How does he work with the pieces? How do the pieces work with him? And if I'm building something, I'm a little more concerned about that. If I'm the Warriors and I'm just like,
trying to win.
We're going to try one more thing for Steph.
Yeah. Do it for Steph.
Like, Find me a realistic option that they have that's better than that, and the Kings can put some pressure on the Warriors if they were to offer this deal. 123 votes so far into this poll on Twitter.
Oh, I got to retweet this.
53.7% of people say yes, do the deal.
Whoa, I thought we were going to have the opposite.
I thought for sure.
In terms of opinions.
I thought for sure. Well, that poll's going to stay up. This conversation definitely can continue over the course of this show, and it's going to be fun. Again, shout out to the Best Case for throwing this trade out there and completely carrying this segment of the show. One more time, it's Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga to the Kings. No draft picks for Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan to the Warriors. No draft picks. Just straight up 2 stars for 1 star and 1 young player. If you want to weigh in on that and share your thoughts on that deal, feel free to do so. But we're going to take a little bit of a break from NBA talk. Don't worry, we'll get back to it. But we're going to talk a little bit about this NFL head coach carousel going on. And I want to talk to Miss Kayla Anderson because the team that she was very closely covering, the Tennessee Titans, they're snatching away Robert Salah from the Niners again. We'll touch on that when we come back right here on Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Award-winning guitarist and songwriter Gary Clark Jr. Tour 2026, Saturday, January 31st, 7 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. An electrifying night of music with Gary Clark Jr. Special guest, Marcus King Band. On sale at the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Gary Clark Jr. Live.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally Towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Sometimes you need country music. Next time you have that feeling, check out New Country 105.1 KNCI, where you have 4 opportunities each weekday to win $1,000 and double your paycheck. New Country for Sacramento, 105.1 KNCI.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
As another new year begins, I'm reflecting on all that has happened. I'm filled with gratitude for the Golf to Go show guests who've trusted us with their time, their thoughts, and their dreams. People like putter magician Scotty Cameron, First Tee's Angie Dixon, former football great Peyton Manning, LPGA legend Nancy Lopez, the heralded team at Hagen Oaks like Ken Morton Jr., Tom Morton, PGA Golf to Go's resident on-air playing coach, and Mike Woods, PGA Director of Golf, and all the PGA professionals and guests who've educated and informed us over last year's 52 shows. Thanks also to you, our loyal listeners, who are there every week with compliments and suggestions when we might get a bit off track. Thanks also to the game that brings us all together. Thanks to the millions of men, women, boys, and girls who play the game. Thanks to the able-bodied, and thanks also to the programs that nurture those in need of a lift, like the California Eagles, PGA Hope, and many more. We are fortunate for our world-class golf and to have lived life and had a chance to play the game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
A.m. to 2 p.m., Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Over the years in the content grind, Kayla, I've learned that if you put out a trade that both sides hate, it's probably a good trade. Or if you put out a trade that, like, the response is 50-50 on it, it's probably a good trade. And we're at 160 votes of this hypothetical trade that one of our great listeners, The Best Case, put together. It's Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan to Golden State for Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga. We're now down to 53% yes, 46.9, so 47% no, with 143 votes. That at least is on Twitter. We've had a lot of good fun. We took a lot of great calls during that lunch break segment about that trade. We will continue the conversation on that and bring that trade back up. But in reality, because that's all fun hypothetical land.
That's where we're at. I didn't know we lived in reality.
In reality, the NFL coaching carousel continues to just go round and round and round. And over the course of this crazy weekend in football, we did have some jobs being taken up. John Harbaugh had his introductory press conference today to for the New York Giants, setting expectations at like Super Bowl championship level, which, of course, you would hate him to go, yeah, we'll just try and make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's not the expectations there.
Low bar. The Bills fired Sean McDermott. I think we saw that coming in any result that wasn't a Super Bowl, so not surprised with him. And we can have a conversation about like where should Sean McDermott look to go if any of these remaining jobs are appealing to him. But the first guy I'm asking you about and the first job I'm asking you about, you were very close for years. You covered the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have snatched Robert Salah away from the 49ers again. The Niners lose their defensive coordinator again. He's now heading to Tennessee, where not only is he going to be the head coach, he's also going to have the calls on defense. He's taken over the defense as well. What do you think of that hire for Tennessee and what he can do there?
Yeah, so it was between pretty much at the late hours last night between Matt Nagy and Robert Salah. They had both come in for in-person interviews, and I tapped into the fan base there. They definitely were all in for Salah. They did not want the Matt Nagy hire. I think there's not a lot's been proven yet from Matt Nagy as a head coach and really a play caller, because he's been, under Andy Reid, and he wasn't able to prove it in Chicago. And obviously the development of Caleb Williams didn't go great that first year. Yep. So it is for me and for a lot of other people who know that team well, a pretty dang good hire. And I would say this, you can go in and say he didn't have success with the New York Jets. Not a lot of people do. And that's a lazy argument to just say not a lot of people have success there. But I will say when he took over the team, he was tasked with obviously creating a winning culture. He was able to really put that defense in a good position. That was a really good defense for a long time. Unfortunately, the reality is, and you guys know this here, general managers, owners have a lot to do sometimes with how much their hands are in the cookie jar. Mm-hmm. And the Jets have an issue with that as well. And unfortunately, Zach Wilson was not the right pick at quarterback. Then they made another boneheaded decision to bring in Aaron Rodgers. You know what happened with the Achilles injury. There's a lot that didn't go right for Salah there, but he needed to win regardless, right? He had an opportunity. That was his learning experience in my eyes. What you saw out of the 49ers, what he was able to do with a depleted team, especially on defense this year, to me allowed him to give him a second chance as a head coach, because I think he is a galvanizer of men. He is somebody that brings energy. These are all things that come from some of the highest known players at the Niners right now in terms of the organization. George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Fred Warner. These are all quotes that have been given about Robert Salah and what he's been able to do as a coach, as a motivator, and a defensive mind. So the biggest key now is you had to have a plan of who you're bringing in at OC, or at least what your plan is for Cam Ward. And I think Salah sold Mike Borgonzi, their GM, enough to be like, hey, we'll get in the right OC, but I'm the man for the job to lead the men. Because he's a very similar kind of mindset as a Mike Vrabel. And Mike Vrabel worked for a long time there and is obviously working in New England. So
I'm going to try and compare garbage to garbage. And that's a very harsh way to say it, because, look, the Titans haven't been a good organization. The Jets have been the worst organization. This is coming from a Raiders fan. I'm very aware of the state of my organization as well, the state of the Browns. The reality is most of these franchises, most of these organizations are hiring new head coaches because they're not in a very good spot. But why would Salah, we have no idea how interested the Ravens or the Steelers were in Robert Salah. We don't know. But let's pretend he had all these offers on the table and it was like a college signing day and he could choose, put on the hat of whoever he wanted. Why would it be Tennessee? correct me if I'm wrong here because you're way more familiar with the Titans than I am, but especially when comparing the Titans situation to the Jets situation, I feel like the Titans give him the opportunity to build something. If he's taking over the Ravens, there's a win now mandate. If he's taking over the Steelers, maybe not as much of a Ravens win now mandate, but hey, that defense is good. You're a defensive guy. You're expected to win right away and turn that thing around. The terrible towels will not be silent for very long, right? I think in Tennessee, Salah has a chance to really go there and put his stamp on that culture. He's inheriting a lot of exciting young talent with that group. They're going to be in good draft, a good draft pick, good opportunities going for it. I like this move for Robert Salah. I hate it for the Niners. I hate that they're losing
for the Niners,
Salah
right?
again. And Shanahan's going, I'm happy for you, but curse you. I like this move for Robert Salah, and I think it's the absolute right hire by the Titans.
Yeah, you mentioned the markets too. I mean, New York is a very different market from Nashville.
Sure.
Nashville is, while it's the hottest city to move to, it's a smaller market. Mm-hmm. It's about Sacramento size, to tell you the truth. And, their fans are like Kings fans. They're starving for something. And they're really dedicated, loyal fans that just want something to go right for them.
Yeah.
And I think they're really excited about this because they see like somebody who really they think can completely turn around the organization. Again, there's going to be help needed on the offensive side of the ball. But now they've got their GM, Scott Perry. You guys got your GM, it feels like.
We hope so.
Yeah, and hopefully, you have your head coach. That's still to be determined because you guys still, as the Kings fans, need to see something out of Doug more than what the season has been given.
Right.
But just having like the pieces starting to come together, it is like, okay, fans can see light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. That's why I always like to bring up that, not just like, oh, covered Titans. No, there's a lot of similarities that are in between the two organizations when it comes to what position they're in right now.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about the Jets is the Jets have been so bad for so long, you would think that they'll just take whatever they can get, but it's still that New York market, and your little brother to the Giants no matter what. Like, you're always little brother to the Giants. Going into that market, there is a pressure to, even if it's the Jets, there is a pressure to figure that thing out right away. Again, I think Salah has a chance to really organically, patiently do something right in Tennessee. I'm not saying it's likely that they could have a turnaround a la the Bears this year or anything like that. Yeah. I think that's a lot of expectation to put on his shoulders. But that's not the expectation.
No, it's different.
It's like he can come in there, he can start to lay the groundwork and build something to where if you were to tell me right now, hey, Matt, 2 seasons from now, so not next season, but starting the following season, the Tennessee Titans are at least starting to make some noise, and you're starting to be like, oh, look what Tennessee's doing. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. And Robert Salah has a chance to become immortal in Tennessee if he can finally be the guy to get that consistent success.
Right. But none of this would go anywhere unless your owner gave pretty much the statement or came out there and said, your general manager has the ability to go out and do what he wants. It's him who is going to do it. Mm-hmm. And for so long, that was the issue, that the general manager, just one person, had the ability to go make the hire. Oh, does that sound familiar, maybe? And finally, that statement was made. And I think people trust that the general manager, Mike Borgonzi, is going to start making the right decisions.
I'm really curious to see what the first moves are for Robert Salah over there. Really quickly, some other I'm curious your thoughts on any of these guys. Jeff Hafley going to the Miami Dolphins. Kevin Stefanski hired by the Falcons. Any thoughts on either of those two hires?
Yeah, the Hafley one, a little confused. I think Green Bay's defense, once Micah Parsons went out, regressed. Yeah. I don't think that it was great. It didn't need to move the needle for me. Mm-hmm. Fit-wise, don't really know if that screams Miami. And then in terms of Kevin Stefanski, there you go.
Say it 3 times fast.
Kevin Stefanski to Atlanta. I like Kevin Stefanski. I think he was definitely deserving of a second opportunity somewhere because Cleveland is where people go to wilt away and die. Fit-wise, to be determined. I don't know what Michael Penix Jr. is. He's been hurt. I don't know if he's the future. This guy's an offensive-minded guy, so we'll see.
Really quickly, so the Cardinals, Raiders, Browns, Ravens, Steelers, and Bills all are without a head coach. Obviously, take the Bills out of this question. If you're Sean McDermott, are you interested in any of those landing spots? And if you're the Raiders, are you interested in Sean
Well,
McDermott?
the Raiders, yes. That's a simple answer for me. The Raiders better go and try to make a push for McDermott.
We'll see if that's who Tom Brady wants or not. Carrying on the conversation, this coaching carousel, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. But we're going to come back, and we talked about, or wanted to talk about this last week, ran out of time to do so. Sam Amick spoke on the importance of the NBA trade deadline for the NBA economy and fan interest. Kayla, look at the conversation we just had around a potential Jonathan Kuminga trade and how much it sparked fan interest here on this show. The NBA is getting away from that a little bit, and it's something that needs to be fixed. We'll talk about it, hear what Sam had to say coming up after this.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday? When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you? We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center this Friday through Sunday. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CRV, HRV, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Guys, feeling low energy or low drive? It could be low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health, start with a free T-check and consultation. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off TRT. Book now at ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply. Must
terms of like transactions is king in sports. There's no doubt about it. NFL is the almighty.
Yeah.
But when it comes to transactions and trades and fan involvement in trade conversations, nobody does it like the NBA.
It's different. That's for sure.
And they have hamstrung themselves. The NBA has hamstrung themselves with this new apron system that has made trades more difficult, has made signing players more difficult, has just thrown a total curveball in this situation. That
Can I take time out real quick?
Time out.
Explain to people who are listening, real quick, the apron system in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Just so that, again, not everybody knows the insides working.
Right.
And so, real quick.
So I don't know all of and I could pull them up and get verbatim what the penalties are, but essentially the apron system is this. Once you get past, so there's always been the luxury tax,
yes.
And and the luxury tax is for every dollar amount you go over, you pay a certain amount per. So it's to convince teams that, hey, you can be a big spending team if you want to,
yes,
but you have to foot a pretty hefty bill,
right?
But of course, there are some organizations that are like, F it, I'll do it, I'll pay for it, and I'll pay to win. The apron system essentially put into place. If you go, the first apron is a certain amount higher, and again, I don't know the exact numbers, but certain amount higher, or a certain amount into the luxury tax. Yep. And once you hit that first apron, there are certain penalties. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. The second apron is like the dreaded one, and then the third apron is like, you're an idiot, you're dead.
Yeah.
But these, and I'll throw it back to you.
I wanted to just
and
make
I'll
sure.
get the exact specifics of like what you can and can't. It impacts like certain trades that you can make. You can't bring back a certain amount of talent. You can't go out and sign a certain player that puts you above a threshold. It hamstrings what you can do as an organization. And the idea is competitive balance to make sure there can't be a Dodgers, right? To make sure there's not a team that just goes, I don't care, buy all the stars and put them on my team. The problem is they've made these apron penalties so severe and so significant that every team is terrified to get anywhere close, while this new TV deal has opened up all these opportunities for players to get these fat paydays. So now these players are asking for more max contracts. You give them those max contracts. It takes a certain amount of your cap space, and to build a good team, you need to spend amount of money, but now you're going into the aprons, and the aprons are penalizing, and it hurt. It makes it difficult to build something and keep it long term.
Sorry, just real quick. The second apron penalties include you don't have access to the mid-level exception in free agency.
That's a huge one.
Cannot trade first-round picks 7 years into the future. Yep. They're essentially frozen.
Yep.
Cannot use trade exceptions, which is just
huge.
Layman terms.
Yeah, that's
huge.
The Kings used one of those to get Dennis Schroeder.
Yep.
Remember that back in the summer. So the Dennis Schroeder couldn't have been a King in that situation. Can't use cash in trades. And if you stay over the second apron for 3 years, you start losing your draft picks.
Yeah. It completely handicaps.
Why. Yeah, that does.
It completely. And that's the second apron. That's not even the third.
Crazy.
The third apron is you lose your basketball team. LOL.
That's what I was going to say. You pretty much is like, you're chopped.
Get out the league.
Yeah.
You're insane. So
you will be bankrupted.
We ban you. Adam Silver will take all your money. It's like Monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
So this apron system was put in place to provide more competitive balance. But what it's done is it's taken one of the most fun parts of the NBA, which are these trades and these hypothetical trade conversations and an exciting free agency period, and it's muted it or it's watered it down because you get these less exciting moves. Last year is a kind of a weird example of this because we had that Luka Doncic blockbuster. So people are like, see, there's still big trades.
Well, that carried us for months, too.
But here's the problem. That took a moronic decision by a general manager who no longer has a job to completely chop the legs out from underneath an organization in order to do that. That's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get that every year. And then you can go, well, what about the Zach LaVine DeMar DeRozan trade? That was Zach LaVine to De'Aaron Fox trade. That was a big deal. That also involved one player asking out because of the horrible decisions of the Kings organization. It was a trade that never should have happened. So again, you can't rely on those to happen every single year. They're not going to be dumb organizations every single year. So we're now getting less and less of these actual real conversations. There's rumors and there's hypotheticals out there like always. There's the same smoke, but actually getting deals across the finish line, it's happening less and less and less. Mm-hmm. And the NBA, I think if we go through this trade deadline and there's not really at least a blockbuster that happened, like the blockbuster in theory should have been Trae Young being traded, but the trade mattered so little nobody cares about it.
I mean,
now.
it was like literally we talked about it the couple days, and then it was like history.
Right. And normally this is the time of year where you're looking at a team like a Cleveland, or you're looking at a team that's trying to catch OKC and saying, they're going, okay, we need one all-in move to try and maximize our opportunity. Now those teams are going, well, I can't make that all-in move because that'll put me into the apron or over the second apron or whatever, and then I'm screwed next season.
Right.
So Sam Amick talked about this a little bit, and Kyle's going to play that audio for us in just a second, just talking about how the importance of the trade deadline and these conversations and the fan interest in the league and how that's being affected.
How important is an exciting trade deadline to the league, if you had to guess? I'm still kind of back on what we were talking about. Is this just a fan thing, or does it carry importance with the league, in your opinion?
No, it carries importance. I mean, I've always been struck by, the league's kind of dirty little secret in terms of how much they love the gossip. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking about the media stuff. Like, you would think, like players and coaches, a lot of times are, they're giving us pushback when we report on, and speculate on different scenarios. And obviously these are real people that if you live in Sacramento and you might get traded, you would, you don't really want to wake up and read about where you might be. But the truth is that the league loves it. They just do. They've loved free agency speculation. They love trade speculation. The fans love it. We obviously have some sense of how many people read our stories. And, I think the absolute die-in-the-wool hoop heads would be saddened to hear, like, the degree to which the readership on the game, differentiates from the readership on the business around the game. So the way you framed it, though, is accurate too, Dave. Like, you have at least a handful of big trades. Luka goes to the Lakers last year, and now you have something to monitor and find interesting until the end of the season. It's not just the fireworks of the deal itself. It's then, having a reset button on the season and seeing like, oh, this midseason acquisition, can he elevate this team to the next level? How's that adjustment going? So yeah, I mean, it's free agency and trade season are two big tentpole events for the league.
What Sam's talking about here is entertainment value, right? They're part of the entertainment value of the league is the ability, like you and I sitting down and trading our favorite player cards as kids. It's this possibility of these shakeups happening and discussing with your friend or your buddy at the bar or going on the NBA trade machine and making these hypothetical deals and not feeling like they're never going to happen and it's once in a blue moon, because there's always a level of realism to this. Like, we know in theory, like the Luka Doncic trade last year, never in a million years should have ever happened. And a competent organization never does anything like that. Like, we know Nikola Jokic is never being traded for Paul George or some of these things that you might be able to put together in a game of NBA 2K. And we had someone in our comment section, local Raptors fanatic, said, Matt, you need to look into it more before thumbing it down. Real fans aren't caring about 2K trade BS. We're not talking about 2K trade BS, though. We're talking about very realistic deals that have shaken up seasons and shaken up futures of organizations. And I just Googled, like, some of the top blockbuster deals of all time. And the first one that comes up strikes close to home here in Sacramento. Chris Webber for Mitch Richmond. You also had Paul George to the Clippers, part of that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade that's cashed in and turned the Oklahoma City Thunder into an absolute powerhouse and an NBA champion. You have Chris Paul to the Clippers in 2011 when the Chicago Bulls got Dennis Rodman. Allen Iverson going to the Denver Nuggets in 2006. Rasheed Wallace quickly getting dealt. Even Damian Lillard to the Bucks for Drew Holiday. It didn't end up working out for the Bucks, but that was a major deal. Pau Gasol being sent to the Lakers. They won championships because of that. Vlade Divac being traded to Charlotte for Kobe Bryant's draft rights, right? Like, these are deals that have shaped the history of this league that keeps people locked into this time period, because what's going to be the new history-changing moment? And the league is taking that away or making that more difficult because of this apron
system. It's not helping the league. Coming from, an NFL-dominated part of the country, Sacramento is an NBA town because your team is the Sacramento Kings. being quite frank, and people probably hate me for this, but just reality of the situation, like nobody was paying attention to the regular season down there.
Sure.
When it came to the NBA.
They
Unless
shouldn't.
you were a Grizzlies fan in that neck of the woods, at least, right? Because there's so much else going on.
Right.
So you're talking about there is actual benefit from trades like this that happen this time of year. And with everything that's going on right now, they're capping themselves pretty much. The league is capping itself. Adam Silver is. But it's also like pulling headlines away from the NFL when right now it's completely dominating because of the playoffs and everything. And right now, we're not talking about any trades.
Yep.
We're talking about Trae Young, which, again, happened for like 2 days in terms of interest and then it died off quickly.
Yeah.
But it's just from an entertainment standpoint and the NBA trying to kind of pull in some of those viewers, this is an important time. And unfortunately, there is not a lot of attraction right now with the casual NBA viewer because there's just not a lot of it happening.
Yeah, we'll see how the NBA handles this trade deadline and how big of a curveball this throws into this apron system and the plans for it going forward. But we're going to break right now. We're going to start our final hour with a guest that hopefully you're very familiar with here in this market. KCRA 3's Sean Cunningham. He was in Seattle for that Niners-Seahawks game. He'll take us out there and share with us what that beatdown was like in person, his thoughts on what's next for the 49ers. Plus, we'll talk a little Kings with Sean as well. That's coming up next right here on Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
When value matters, Elk Grove Chevrolet delivers. Right now, purchase a 2026 Chevrolet Silverado for $4,500 off. The Silverado 1500 stands out with legendary towing power, a bold new design, and the dependability you expect from Chevy. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com for full details. Don't miss your chance to drive the new Chevrolet Silverado. Stop by Elk Grove Chevrolet today and experience quality that goes the distance.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. Chris Young. Turnpike Troubadours. Dylan Scott and more. Line dancing live DJs, Mechanical Bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler, Dodge Jeep and Ram Center, and Fairfield in Cal Expo. More info at CITBfest.com.
The winter service event is on at Maida Subaru. Now is the time to let Maida Subaru get your Subaru road ready for the winter weather with exceptional savings on tires, brakes, wiper blades, and more. See all the service specials at maidasubaru.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Kayla Anderson is our resident Seattle Seahawks fan. And before we get to Sean Cunningham from KCRA, who was in Seattle for that beatdown on Saturday, Kayla, I think the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl favorites at this point, or at least they should be. I do believe they will get past the Rams, but I'm not a fan. I'm just saying that. Why, in your mind, whether it's the swagger and you're a total pro, you can put your fan aside. I'm asking you to lean into the fan. Why do you think like Seattle Seahawks fans right now should be feeling like, hey, the Lombardi Trophy's coming home?
Well, I think you start with the defense. And if anything that we've learned about this year is it's anybody's Super Bowl to win, probably. But you can also say that there are some teams with some pretty good defenses in the playoff this year. They're one of those teams because now the Houston Texans are out.
They gone.
And I think the issue with the Houston Texans was how much can you rely on C.J. Stroud to just be, I hate this word, but I'm going to use it, a game manager. Just not to make mistakes at least.
Sure.
I think what we've learned from the situation in Seattle is the defense is dominant. We know that. Sam Darnold is still the question mark, and I've been very, very critical of Sam Darnold. You know this. But I think he showed in that game he can do enough to not mess up the game if they can get the good play out of the defense and they can continue to run the ball. Now, that might be a little more difficult that they don't have the two backs now with Charbonnet out, but I think Kenneth Walker's had a phenomenal season, and I'm going to have to say I'm going to put the trust in Sam not to do too much, but I'm going to rely on the Seattle defense, which I think is one of the best remaining defenses left to get it done.
Joining us right now from KCRA 3, Sean Cunningham, who's a legend in this city in terms of sports coverage, but he's never done something quite as great as be on the Matt and Kayla Show on Sactown Sports. Sean, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you, my friend. How was the trip to Seattle? Niner fans are looking for someone or something to blame. Can it be you? Can we blame you?
Yeah, you could blame me.
Cool.
I was in Philly too, but I was at the Super Bowl when they lost. I was at the NFC Championship when they lost to Philly the first time. So there might be something to that. First of all, congratulations, Matthew. I get to say it publicly to your new endeavor here, back on our old home, 1140. You can go home again. I think that's awesome. And Kayla's, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time I'm meeting you.
It is, Sean. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've enjoyed listening to your work.
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah, likewise. I've heard you a lot. I thought I would. I couldn't remember if I had been on once with Whitey or not with you, so I apologize. But if this is truly the first time, I thought that might be right.
I'm excited.
Sean, tell us about what that atmosphere was like out there in Seattle. I mean, you talk about a game that, it's not accurate to say it was over in 30 seconds, but it certainly felt like that through the TV a little bit. That and just a crazy kickoff return start to the game. The Niners being on the ropes basically for the entire hour of actual game time. Like, what was that experience like for you being out there covering that? What ended up being a pretty unfortunate beatdown?
Yeah, I honestly didn't think the wind was out of the sails. Maybe it was for the fans, and maybe it truly was with some of the players. Like, I didn't think the wind was out of the sails with the opening kickoff return. I just think it was kind of poetic for a team and a coach and even a fan base that acknowledges that, this team just does things the hard way. I just feel like it was kind of natural for, okay, right out of the gate, you're facing adversity, backs against the wall. Now you got to rally. And then they just, I think there's a little bit of truth. I know social media was not kind to some of these comments, but people like Kyle Juszczyk and Ricky Pearsall, Kendrick Bourne, especially from the offensive standpoint, talking about how they just kept stepping on landmines. They were self-inflicted wounds that they were doing, not really that the defense, who was just this immaculate defense led by Ernest Jones, who was their version of Fred Warner, who was just this incredible do-it-all guy. And it just felt like they kept choosing, like if you have those like pick your own destiny books and you're like, choose your adventure, and you just keep going down the wrong path, keep doing the wrong thing. I mean, field possession, I don't think gets nearly talked about enough in this game. I mean, it felt like the Seahawks were just taking over with great field possession. Their offense, I mean, obviously they were able to run the ball in that Week 18 matchup to close out the season and get the overall number 1 seed, but that was still a storyline, even though Charbonnet goes out in that second half. But my goodness, I mean, you're talking about you're talking about giving them great field possession, an offense that's not necessarily as good as their defense, in my opinion, and you just couldn't take advantage. And once you go down 17 points or whatever it was, good night, Irene. I mean, it just was not a possibility of them coming back. And I've been in a lot of locker rooms where seasons have ended and it's somber and sad, and you see guys crying, and for all the right reasons. This 49ers team was just kind of like, yeah, we lost. I mean, we were been playing the house money. I mean, Trent Williams was talking about, we got dudes coming off the street to play with us. So I think there's an acceptance there. I think it does wonders this was already a great rivalry between the Niners and Seahawks. I'm excited to see what it can be going forward. Yeah. So I'm this glass half full kind of guy, because so much had gone wrong for the 49ers. They deserved to be there, don't get me wrong, but they were playing with house money the entire time. They overachieved. I thought it was Kyle Shanahan's finest hour. And to see it kind of come up short in Seattle. Okay.
We've got KCRA sports reporter Sean Cunningham. You all know him if you've tuned into the station for any time. We're talking a little bit about the Seahawks and the Niners. I'm curious as your thoughts on Brock Purdy in that performance that he, obviously was not even near perfect, but we can't put it all on his shoulders, can we?
No, definitely not. I mean, look, he's been a guy who's been able to go into some pretty crazy environments and win. He was 4-0 going into that game in Seattle, games played in Seattle. I know this is a different beast. I know that he had that bookend of games against Seattle. You open the season against Seattle, takes a pretty incredible final play where he rolls out, hits Jake Tonjes for a game-winning touchdown. He did that, so I think, it's just the nature of this game where the NFL and the quarterback just getting so much attention there, because let's face it, Kyle Shanahan, I mean, they run the ball, and Christian McCaffrey really was largely ineffective in both games against Seattle. And they, the Seahawks just don't give up 100-yard rushing games. I think they're up to almost 30 now. It might be 30 games since they last gave up a 100-yard rusher. So, I think he gets a lot of the attention, but I think Brock Purdy is the right guy for the job. I know Mac Jones has come in and played well, but let's not forget what he was able to do against some coming right off of the injury scrapyard and come out there and put up some numbers. Granted, it wasn't a defense like the Seahawks, but let's not forget the Bears are a team that one of the top teams in takeaways and turnovers, and he went out there and made them largely ineffective.
Sean, it's going to be a fascinating conversation of what's next for the 49ers. Like you said, so much of this season about playing with house money, and then you got so many big names that are coming off of pretty significant, some catastrophic injuries. George Kittle's going to be out for a while, so we'll see with him. Bosa out again with another ACL injury. Fred Warner maybe could have played if the 49ers were still in it in this NFC Championship game, but when you're evaluating the blows that the Niners took this year, you can even add now the loss of Robert Salah to the Tennessee Titans. When you evaluate the blows and what the 49ers think that they can count on, or what you feel the 49ers can count on from those names that I just listed coming back next season, and the Niners being right back in this conversation, right back in a NFC West title conversation next year. How do you feel about that? How should the 49ers feel about their future, not just their present?
I think it's great. I mean, I do think, look, they've got some big contracts out there and guys that have had some injuries, as you've laid out, but hearing George Kittle talk about his Achilles and how it's higher and getting good news from the doctor, not putting a timetable on it, but if that guy's back by October, I mean, I think that's where everyone expects. Anything before that would be pretty miraculous, I think. Fred Warner, who, he was itching to practice and play, and I just still even think if he had been able to play in that NFC Championship, yes, I think he would have been a game changer, but I also I wouldn't have bet on it. I think that's such a big ask for a guy coming back from an injury like that. a fractured and dislocated ankle. That's wild to me. Knowing he'll be ready for OTAs and training camp. But I think the biggest question mark, and it may not even be a question mark for most people. I mean, there's money that should be freed up. Hopefully, coming up here. What's the Brandon Ayuk situation look like? It's obviously very peculiar. But you're losing some people. I think if Jim Schwartz doesn't get a head gig, and I haven't checked my phone in the last hour, so forgive me. I don't think he's gotten a head coaching gig yet. But I think he's a name to watch to replace Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator. So I think there's some really interesting things going forward. I think people should be optimistic. I think you might see a little bit different receiving core. I think they obviously have to make some changes to the offensive line. I mean, you got 38-year-old Trent Williams, who's still just an all-pro, and he could probably play till 50 and still be a menacing individual. But you might want to get a little bit more depth there. But I short of that, I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. I think the one that makes me captures my curiosity is, what does Nick Bosa look like coming back from his injury?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sean Cunningham, you can check him out on KCRA Sports Reporter there. You can hear him right here on the Matt and Kayla Show. Sean, when it comes to, you mentioned the wide receivers, and that could look different in terms of that group. How do you feel about the interest in paying Jawan Jennings? He's been such a big part of this offense, especially this year with bodies down. Or do they kind of let him go?
That's a great question. My own read on that is I think they're comfortable there. I think, he's played such a big role for him. He's come up in big moments. There are games where he becomes a little bit of a disappearing act, but I think he does draw a lot of attention. That third and Juwan is definitely real. He's had a nice chemistry with Brock Purdy throughout his tenure. So I feel good about it, but realizing now that they've committed money there, realizing now that they've probably got to make a splash. And let's face it, the Brandon Ayuk thing is just hanging over this franchise. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go either way. But if I was a betting man, I'd probably expect to see him in training camp.
Sean Cunningham from KCRA3 joining us. Sean was in Seattle for that, I guess we could call it a game between the Seahawks and the Niners. But Sean, there he goes again. It was nice to have Robert Saleh back in Santa Clara for a year. I'm sure Kyle Shanahan loved having him back, and it's sad to see him go, but he's taken on the job at Tennessee, the Titans, who Kayla is very familiar with. Two-parter. One, what do you think of that opportunity for Saleh? And part two, where do the Niners go from here? Because that's a great leader of men that they're losing on that staff.
Oh, 100%. He came in and, to Trent Williams' point about guys off the scrap heap, I mean, he came in and took guys that weren't, if I had told you Grant Wallow and Eric Kendricks would be the guys that were, leading this defensive charge into the playoffs and having success, if I told you that in even early December, you'd probably call me a lunatic. But he's able to find moments like that. He's able to galvanize men, lead men defensively. He's got a great relationship with his head coach. That is a very, very, very key loss. But if you can get someone like Jim Schwartz, I think that would be a number one with a bullet right there to go after if he doesn't land a head coaching gig. It's tough, but I think Kyle Shanahan knows what that means to have people plucked from his coaching tree, so to speak. It's great opportunities. It's good problems to have. It means you're having success along the way. And I think they've done a fairly decent job, great job in not only harvesting opportunities for these coaches, but even replacing them and finding a little. They go from losing Salah, having D'Amico Ryans ends up being a head coach. So they've had a track record of success, and I would trust them to be able to go out and replace Robert Saleh again.
So it's been an interesting year in terms of CMC. Christian McCaffrey, he was able to remain healthy at times where I'm like, you are utilizing him so much in several different situations, like more so almost as a wideout in some cases this year. It's amazing that he was one of the players that stayed healthy. What are your thoughts on in terms of the draft? And I'm not talking high draft picks here, but do they go and try to find a back in, the third, fourth round just to have as insurance? Because CMC he's not getting any younger, Sean.
No, he's not. And yeah, he faced some other injuries this season. We certainly know what he went through last season. And I thought, man, the addition of Brian Robinson would take some pressure off of him. Isaac Grendo has had moments, and he's been, more times than not inactive. So I see what you're saying there too. I just think the draft is such a dicey place to find running backs. I just don't think a lot of teams like to go that route. They almost like to see a guy get established and then see what they are and bring him in. I know special teams always play such a role. I think that the tough part is how long will Kyle Shanahan continue to use the role of a fullback? And in talking to someone like Kyle Juszczyk, even after this game, he was the one guy that kind of teared up. And I was thinking to myself the entire time is he probably won't be back next year. I mean, it was a tough contract for them to bring back for this season for 25. I think he came out and had an all-pro season. I thought he was fantastic. So I don't know that they searched the draft to that. I think they kind of look elsewhere, maybe trades and free agency, but certainly it's a position of question for how they go forward in the future and what they look to position next to McCaffrey. Because look, I like Robinson a lot. I think he can do a lot of things. And I don't know that the best recipe for success for the 49ers is to lean on McCaffrey as a bell cow, but he's had great success.
Well, speaking of security blankets, Sean, Mac Jones this season was essential to the Niners being able to stay above water and even climb up the standings with his success when Brock Purdy went down with that injury. You'd have told me going into the season, hey, Brock Purdy is going to miss what it ended up being like 7 games or something like that. Then I would say, well, the Niners are probably in pretty big trouble. It sounds like Mac has certainly raised his value, raised his stock. Maybe a team or two might be searching to give Mac Jones another chance. But if you're the 49ers, unless you're getting an offer you can't refuse, I imagine Shanahan's going to want to be a little sticky with getting rid of Jones just to have as that safety in case Brock gets hit with another surprising turf toe or whatever type injury that you can just get over the course of a season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it entered my mind in Seattle in the fourth quarter when Mac, I was like, if they're going to bring Mac Jones into this game, can you imagine if he gets hurt?
Oh.
Can you imagine if he goes out there and suffers a pretty serious injury and all of a sudden they can't move him, or now they provide some doubt going into the next season about your quarterback depth and maybe whether or not being able to move him. Look, we all know Kyle Shanahan coveted Mac Jones before the draft, before he became into this league, ends up with him. He filled in admirably. I think he's an asset. I think a lot of people are looking at him as being able to be a difference maker. But what's the team? What's the situation? Who's the coaching staff? And what's the scheme? And those are all questions you have to answer. You can use Geno Smith as an example. I mean, he goes to the Raiders with the same coach. It's a fairly different scheme and just looks disastrous. And sorry to pick at an open wound there, Matt, but at least your Raiders will, have some
Fernando.
Some luck in the draft, I would think. Yeah, I don't know there. I think I wouldn't expect Mac Jones to be around. I think he's someone that's going to have value, and you should be able to strike while the iron's hot.
We've got KCRA sports reporter Sean Cunningham on the Matt and Kayla Show right now. I just think, moving forward, obviously there's going to be some loss of some free agents here this season. But if you are going into the draft as the Niners this year, Sean, what do you think their priority is?
Yeah. I could see it being this, defensive backs. I could see it being a receiver. But if it were me, I mean, I hate to say it from an NBA standpoint, but I'm going best player available.
Yeah.
I just think in the first round of the NFL, you have to pick from a position of best player available as opposed to need. Sometimes they coincide with one another. I know some people will maybe disagree, but you're not going to be picking totally high up in the draft. So maybe just get best player available in my mind. I think positions of needs, obviously cornerback, safety, just upgrading that defensive backfield in my mind. But yeah, if you can find a stellar wide receiver, I think that would be another weapon for Brock Purdy. That would be outstanding. But health, I think, because you had Mykal Williams, you have guys on the defensive line. Alfred Collins played so well this season. If you can just get guys back, on that defensive line, I think it'll be a lot better. Nick Bosa comes back from injury. I think you're okay there. But I went into last season not being wild about the defensive backfield. So I would say that would probably still be my position of curiosity.
Sean Cunningham from KCRA3 joining us. Sean, let's spend our final few minutes switching gears to some Sacramento Kings. They're back in action tonight, taking on the Miami Heat inside the Golden One Center. They've won 4 out of their last 5, rattled off a nice little 4-game win streak before their loss over the weekend to the Portland Trailblazers. What do you make of, the one thing we've heard about Doug Christie talk a lot about is playing to the standard, and it seems like guys are meeting that standard. They're starting to figure some things out. Of course, Doug is reincorporating Domantas Sabonis, who missed a couple months with that knee injury. What do you make of the success that the Sacramento Kings are having of late? And, is it a good thing with where the team's at right now?
I'm probably in the minority. I think it is a good thing. I think, yes, you have opportunity for a handful of young players. It's not like you have a whole team of them. So I'm always cautious when I say play the young guys, because I think they need to know what it's like to not only play with veterans, but also kind of earn it. Like there's a sense of earn it. I know people are wanting to play for ping pong balls, and certainly I understand that, but realizing that nothing is given. You don't just get a number 1 pick. You look at Washington, what happened to them last year. There's, if you know your Sacramento Kings history, the lottery isn't very kind to you as it is. So I almost cursed. I don't like messing with the basketball gods. So you just kind of go out there and in my mind, just let the chips fall where they may. And I think the only thing that helps development is success, going out there and finding success, not hurting your confidence. And I think some of the joy, they've leaned into joy and exuberance and energy. Doug Christie has made a point of just repeating a lot of those words. And I kind of think it's, first you had apathy. This season is obviously lost to a degree. It's kind of funny. You can look at where they are in relation to the play-in tournament and realize that not all hope is lost from that regard. But realistically speaking, yes, this season is lost. And I think apathy sets in for a lot of these players. But then you see the exuberance and joy that probably the poster child for that is Dylan Cardwell.
Yeah.
There's obviously not a huge scouting report for a guy like him, but he's certainly able to go out there and make an impact on the game. And when you bring that exuberance and joy, I feel like that tends to rub off a little bit. And I think for some of these guys that had such a depression set in about where this team is at and the expectations that they had coming to this season, I think that's rubbed off on some of these vets in a positive way. I would argue that they had played better even before that 4-game win streak, but I don't want to sugarcoat, like this still isn't a very good basketball team. And I think it's incumbent upon Scott Perry to kind of save this team from themselves a little bit. But if just go out there and be entertaining, I think they've been able to kind of find a little bit of a elixir there to at least be a little bit more appealing to the fan base. Certainly us that get paid to go in there and watch bad basketball. So if you can turn that bad basketball into something somewhat desirable and fun, I think that's a good thing. But development, I think you increase development and the productivity and the ultimate just resolve of what you're looking for by winning and having some success, and hopefully they can find that.
Sean, we talked a lot about Dylan Cardwell just now. We've talked a lot about Maxime Reynaud this season. My question to you is, what have you thought about Nick Clifford? And I know he hasn't had as much time to just get out there like maybe some of these 2 other guys have in real time, but are we happy with where he's at? Do we need to see more at this point?
I think you will see more. I think what will happen is you're going to get through the trade deadline and you'll see Nick Clifford play a slightly different role than what he's currently playing. Doug Christie likes to lean into the logjam, certainly, and maybe there's a player here or there that isn't around after the trade deadline. But Nick is getting opportunity. What they're asking him to do, rebound, defend, be a connector, is certainly there. And I've seen positivity and growth. Obviously, the shot is concerning. Like he doesn't have it. He's also not in a position where he's going to go out there and get 7 shots a game. So if he goes out there and misses 2 shots, like that might be it for him in terms of from offensive productivity. That being said, I think after the trade deadline, you're going to see him in situations where you might see the ball in his hands a little bit to see what he can provide, a la what he did in Summer League, to kind of play a little bit of a playmaking situation. Obviously, in summer league, you had, Devin Carter. Could he be a point guard? Well, the answer is, that would still be asking a lot for a player that's never played point guard before. Nick Clifford has had some playmaking abilities. I like his handle. I think there's a appetite to see what he can be from a, maybe not a point guard situation, but clearly from a playmaking standpoint. And we'll kind of see what that looks like. But I don't think anyone should look at him and say bust quite yet. I just think opportunity is still there for him. Just maybe he may not be as good of a shooter. I've heard people kind of steer into the whole, well, he can be a little bit of a streaky shooter. Maybe he goes out there a la Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, and just needs a few shots and see the ball go down for things to get rolling a little bit. The good thing for him is just confidence hasn't waned at all. And every time I see him go on the floor, you can kind of see a tenacity. Sir, he can be lost in certain moments, but you see him go get a rebound, make a stop. He doesn't really get blown by. He understands spacing and defensive situations. That to me is encouraging.
Sean, we'll wrap up with this real quick. There are a lot of fun duos in the Kings organization. One of the best ones is Sean Cunningham's camera and Malik Monk's middle finger. Malik loves to find Sean and give him the double bird. It's like a calling card between the two of them. But Sean, you obviously know Malik Monk very well. He's been playing really well recently, especially when Dennis Schroeder was out for a few games, stepping into a familiar role. I've heard rumblings that maybe the Kings are less willing to move on from him or aren't shopping him as aggressively as they were initially. But have you heard anything similar to that, contrary to that? And just what do you make of the success that we've seen from Malik as of late?
Yeah, to me, I mean, look, much like Dylan Cardwell, you play Malik Monk, good things happen. He feeds off of the energy, especially at home. He is the Energizer Bunny. He gives that team life. People know what Malik Monk is. I know with respect to Doug Christie, I realize he's trying to do a few different things. It's wild to me, and I don't mean this as a slam to him, but it's you've had this team largely intact for almost a full season at this point since he's taken over as interim head coach. And I know there's a few pieces that you're looking to develop, but when you're talking about the pillars of what you want to stand for and what you're asking players to do, not having Malik Monk a part of that is just a head scratcher to me. It doesn't make much sense. But I guess that's how opportunity comes. And Malik is a guy who still thinks, if you ask him, that he would still be a starting player, but is understanding and appreciative of whatever role he gets. And even when he's not playing, he's out there supporting his teammates and, high-fiving and clapping and being a part of the game and trying to infect the game with that type of vibe. I love that from him. I still think from what he's done from a point guard standpoint, when he's taken over the playmaking role, has been largely good. I think his turnovers tend to get certainly they're bad, but I think they get an attention, a level of attention that someone like Russell Westbrook, who does the same thing, doesn't get. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Domantas Sabonis is back, I think nobody plays the two-man game better than that DHO with Domas better than Malik. So I think that will kind of, you'll see a little bit more from him in that regard. I think, they can't play that same way when Domas isn't out there. We'll kind of see what that is. I mean, Domas obviously coming off the bench and didn't close out that lineup, but Malik did. I just think your best recipe for success is to have Malik Monk have play time in your rotation. So as far as the trade stuff, I think he's still a name that could be moved, but I don't know that they're necessarily shopping him. I just think Scott Perry shows up at whatever Zoom meeting and says, "Behold, are all my team, these people for for the taking. Who do you want?" And you have those conversations. So I just think you got to play Malik Monk.
Well, we'll see if they continue to do that tonight against the Miami Heat. Sean, you'll be out there for that. Keep up the great coverage for KCRA. Looking forward to having you on again really soon, my friend.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I want to tell you one thing real quick, Matthew.
Oh, no.
Dylan Cardwell asked about you.
Oh, geez.
I think he saw your 20-minute goodbye that was on social media. He said, "Oh, tough thing about Matt George, huh?" And I go, "Well, he didn't die. He's still in the market." I had to explain to him that you're on the radio.
When did this happen?
This happened today. It's not on camera. It happened before I started rolling.
Oh,
but I was at shoot around today. And,
tell Dylan we're trying to get him on the show.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Well, I'll try and pull Dylan aside when I get to the arena. Sean, you're the best. Thanks for letting me know, and we'll do it again really soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks guys.
Sean.
We are way late for a break. We're going to take that right now. We got Kings and Heat, a final preview, plus crosstalk with Whitey and Allen that's still coming up right here on the show.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about total game fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic Ball Fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Ten a.m. to 2 p.m. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
The Sacramento Kings are back in action tonight inside the Golden One Center. They got a back-to-back tonight versus the Heat, tomorrow versus the Raptors, and then the long homestand is over. Then they go out on the road for, I think 6 games, Kayla. It's been nice to have them home.
It's been crazy. Like, every time I forget they're doing this long home stretch, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're at home tonight.
Yep.
This is great. And you know what? It's a great time for fans to enjoy it, too, because I do feel like they're playing better basketball. And whether or not you want, them to lose or win, I think you're having the entertainment value, especially with, what is a favorite of yours, Dylan Cardwell, who, we're trying to get on the show here, and it sounds like he's a huge Matt George fan.
Well, I don't know if that's true at all, and if
if
he is, then he needs to rethink who he's a fan of. But shout out Sean Cunningham for letting me know.
That's awesome.
Apparently at shoot-around today, he thought I was gone because I left Locked On Kings. No, Dylan, I just went to your flagship station, brother.
There we go.
We're over here, and you got to come on with Matt and Kayla. But hopefully it's after he balls out against Miami tonight.
That'd be nice.
Man signing off.
For those of you who, and I'm pointing at myself here, who are worried about the Sacramento Kings winning too many basketball games, hey, here's the road trip they have coming up after these back-to-back games tonight and tomorrow. At Cleveland, at Detroit, at the Knicks, at the 76ers, at the Celtics, and then at the Washington Wizards. Ugh. So
that's 5 of the top 6 teams?
Yeah, there might be a lot of losses in there. So that's never an easy road trip to go on. But So a couple notes for tonight versus Miami. They're taking on a Heat team that is without Tyler Hero. He is out in tonight's game, so that's helpful for the Kings, I guess, in their chances to win. We are seeing the return of Davion Mitchell off night to Sacramento, which is a big deal. And then the Sacramento Kings, no Keegan Murray, as expected. But Kayla, Keon Ellis is not listed on the injury report.
Okay.
So Keon, in theory, that means he's available.
Sure.
But how does Keon get in? One of the things we praised Doug Christie for earlier is he's done a phenomenal job of his rotation. He's had a 10-man rotation over these last 2 games. He's balanced the playing time out really well with both Domantas Sabonis and Dennis Schroeder coming back. But Malik Monk has earned a lot of playing time. He's been getting a lot of playing time. If Malik's playing, that probably means Keon isn't.
I don't have a problem with it. And I know at more of the beginning of the season when we were seeing Keon not get the minutes, I think people were a little bit more up in arms about, hey, what's going on? Why aren't we seeing Keon? Doesn't he fit Doug Christie's, mold of what you do to play defense and so on and so forth? But I think right now, and listeners, people who are watching on the chat, tell me if I'm wrong. Are you still concerned with Keon Ellis not maybe getting those minutes over a guy like Malik Monk? Because I think Malik Monk has earned that coming off the bench.
Yeah, well, for sure, I think Malik has earned it with how he's played recently. But, Kayla, I think this is going to be a really good conversation that we should dive into tomorrow when we have more time to really flesh it out. I think Keon Ellis's days are done here in Sacramento.
Okay. I do want to talk about this.
I think the writing is on the wall.
Okay.
I think the Kings are going to move on from Keon. I think if the Kings I don't think the Kings should feel all that confident in their ability to extend Keon or sign him to a new deal. I think he would leave in free agency this summer if he's not moved at the trade deadline. Now, to be fair, the Kings can't really move Keon for a whole lot because he's paid pennies compared to a normal NBA contract. But do you add Keon as a sweetener to get a deal, a Zach Lavine deal, or a DeMar DeRozan deal across the finish line? I think that's his most valuable use to this Kings team at this point. I just don't see a future that with the Kings right now that includes Keon Ellis on it. I know Kings fans are going to feel a certain type of way about it, so we can hash this out tomorrow. But I personally, for tonight, what that means for tonight, I don't think Keon Ellis is going to get much playing time.
I don't either. I would probably, I don't know DNP, but I don't think lots of time.
Well, if he's not getting DNP, then it's an 11-man rotation, or who are you bumping out, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not Dennis, it's not Schroeder's Malik, back. Unless it's Neek Clifford, which I would say is a bad idea.
And I don't think that. And by the way, I loved what Sean said about that because I was trying to maybe look at it in more of a surface level.
Sure.
So that was intriguing.
Yeah.
You can go look at our conversation.
I think Neek is going to be fascinating. It was a great question by you because post-trade deadline Neek Clifford, I'm very curious about. And that's one of the primary reasons to try and move on from some of this log jam is to just free up Neek to be like, hey, man, you can have 10 shots tonight. Let's just try some things. Let's see.
Let's experiment a
little.
And
the reason why Max and Dylan have shown so much is because they've gotten the opportunity to. And it's not that Neek hasn't gotten the opportunity to play, but Neek's trying to be a Swiss Army knife on a roster that's not cohesive and features a bunch of veterans who need to have the ball in their hand. So I'm not making excuses for Neek because he hasn't been good enough. He's been a bit disappointing at times, but I think second half of the season, Neek is going to hopefully tell us a little bit more about his NBA future.
I'd like to think so because I'm a huge fan of his, and I'd like to see him be able to grow within this organization. So.
Well, these next 2 games for the Kings are very intriguing. They're potential auditions for the Heat tonight. The Heat have been connected to DeMar DeRozan loosely, so we'll see if maybe this is a showcase game for DeMar.
Toronto.
The Raptors tomorrow, they are a team that has interest in Domantas Sabonis. But we threw out today a fake trade, a hypothetical trade that we've talked about, which would send Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan to the Golden State Warriors for Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga. Update on how that poll is doing on social media. Early on, it seemed like a lot of people were in favor of it. Now, with 594 votes, it's 51.2% of people say no. So, but again, it's very close, which means it's potentially an interesting trade. All right, we're going to take the break. When we come back, we're going to run that trade by Whitey and Allen, because if we know anything about Allen Styles, he loves himself a fake trade.
I got to hear this.
So would love to hear their thoughts on that. Plus, we'll get you ready for their great show leading into Kings basketball tonight. It's just part of that great new lineup that we have right here for you on Sactown Sports.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Injured and you're considering an LA law firm looking to charge you 45% to 50% in attorney's fees? That's overcharging. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years, and I can tell you no matter how complicated your injury case, you should never be charged 45% or 50% in attorney's fees ever. Direct, experienced, unrelenting, and honest local representation matters. It's called Home Court Advantage for a reason. Ashton & Price serious local attorneys for serious people with serious injuries. So for the best local advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more, only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center this Friday through Sunday. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Here's something you need to know about the new Sactown Sports. We do these crosstalks to humor each other.
Right.
But there's inter-show rivalries. Right, the Carmichael Dave show with Jason Ross, they told me they'd never be caught dead doing a show with, or doing a crosstalk with Whitey Gleason and Alan Stiles. That's why they said, get y'all to the afternoons as far away from us as possible. Yep. We're the middlemen here, Kayla. You and I, we're the.
We have both.
Yeah, we got both, and
we're trying to keep everybody happy.
We're the olive branch to both. We are the diplomats of Sactown Sports. We lost Kyle Draper, the LeBron James of Sactown Sports, and replaced him with two diplomats. So we're moving up.
We appreciate. Everybody appreciates everything you do, except Alan, who's not here right now.
So Alan apparently not very diplomatic today, which sucks because we wanted to run our fake trade by him. It's like, this is perfect Alan Stiles content. Shame on him. So we'll just run it by you, Mr. Whitey Gleason. Whitey.
Okay.
One take Johnny was taking a little longer than one take.
He's a little backed up with production. Alan's, it's not like he's just, I don't want to be in there. He's actually
working.
He's
got too much, too many.
He's working.
He's in demand.
Classic Alan Stiles.
Yeah.
Whatever, It's okay. I'm not bitter or sad that I don't get to see my best buddy.
Now I'm bitter and I'm sad. I thought I was your best buddy.
Everybody's the best buddy. It just depends who.
Doesn't work that way.
Hey,
is that what you call people you don't know their names?
I'm like, that's
Best
true.
buddy.
I do call people buddy. If I don't know your name, if I ever meet you in public and say, hey, buddy, I have no clue who you are.
Question. There's a person who's a male.
Yep.
And you're not sure. You could say, hey, guy, buddy, dude.
Boss.
Bro, boss.
Boss is my thing.
With a woman, you're really limited.
No, it's hi.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. That's
I
all
mean,
got.
we can say to another woman, "Hey, girl."
Hey, girl.
Yeah.
Why can't I say
Hey, girl, like da 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 da.
Hey, girl.
Because you don't know them like that.
Probably doesn't fit as well.
Woman, sir.
Hey, ma'am.
Hey, howdy, my dear. Oh no, can I do a milady?
Howdy, my dear.
Yeah.
Can I do milady?
Yeah,
milady's acceptable, right? If I never met you before and I was like milady,
It's better than ma'am because I'd be like, that's old.
milady's not.
No, milady's more like
It's like 18th century.
I feel
Medieval.
Milady, because you have to like grab the fake cap when you do it. Milady.
But milady is like Bridgerton old. Ma'am is like 1950s misogyny
exactly,
old. Oh, that's
exactly.
cool old. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Milady.
Feel like I'm in a romance novel. When you say
If I ever
milady.
call my wife milady, I'm not coming back to her. You will find me dead in the side of the street.
I love it.
We were having fun conversations just all day long. Initially, our big Kings conversation was like, are the rookies, Dylan Cardwell and Maxime Reynaud, like potentially showing a life after Domantas Sabonis, right? And that if you prioritize a certain type of archetype at the center position, rim protectors, rim runners, pick and roll guys versus Sabonis's obvious elite skill and paycheck, if that could work better for the Kings in the long run. That quickly transitioned into, with the catastrophic injury to Jimmy Butler, like how do the Kings take advantage of that situation? And initially we talked about, hey, a 3-team deal, call the Brooklyn Nets up, see how we can get Michael Porter Jr. to Golden State because that's who they need, that's who they want. And then one of our great commenters, I forget, he hasn't commented in a while, so
Buddy.
I forget his name. Buddy.
Hey, buddy.
My lady.
Wait, really? It's Buddy?
No, it's Milady.
No, that was just
I was like,
remember his name.
I honestly thought it was for a second.
But
I
it's
was
his
like,
best
wait.
friend.
I think it's like
No, just because Matt doesn't know his name.
the best case, I want to say, was his name or something like that. He threw
Oh,
out
yeah.
this trade. Kings get Jonathan Kuminga, and they take on the contract of Jimmy Butler, and he's owed a little over $56 million next year, and that's it. So 1 year left. For DeMar DeRozan, who now apparently is linked to the Warriors. They have potential interest in him to replace Jimmy, and Domantas Sabonis. And no picks involved. It's just a straight up Sabonis and DeRozan for, you're shaking your head.
I ain't doing that unless I get some sweetener because Jimmy's he's not going to want to be here.
Correct.
Obviously, I'm going to have another issue with getting off of that money, which would be harder when he's coming off of injury at his age. So
Right.
if I'm going to do that, I need a little sugar.
So I hear you completely, and I think a lot of people agree with that sentiment. I have a hard time believing that the Kings could ask for a little sugar because they're ultimately getting the young player that they want in the deal. And Sabonis, you're getting off of 2 more years of his contract that the Warriors are now on the hook for. You pay 1 more year of Jimmy, and then your hands are clean. Again, you get Kuminga and can renegotiate a deal with him. And also, what we discussed a lot, Kayla, today is I think the landscape of trades have changed from like the Jazz got like 4 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. Like now, getting 1 first-round pick in this market is good. So
Sure.
to ask for a first from the Warriors, I think to take on Sabonis's money and $10 million guaranteed of DeMar, even if it helps them short-term, I think that's kind of maybe too big of an ask.
Can I jump in here real quick? Because Whitey, didn't you, when I was filling in on the Drive Guys,
Yes, milady.
when we first, we first brought up Kuminga, I remember you were kind of out essentially on Kuminga from the jump. Now that might have changed. Does that play
Not
anything
really.
into it?
Yeah, because I think that me personally, I think Sabonis is worth more than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've got to manage my assets. That would be essentially, what did I get? I had the 12th pick, and I got Halliburton, traded him for Sabonis. I know there were other things. I'm going to trade that now, and I'm going to get, the 7th pick in the 2021 draft. We can't say his name. We're not allowed to say his name on our show.
Because of Allen?
We decided. We're just last week. Alan's having a hard time with it.
I
It's like,
bet he
can't I
is.
say it once? Yeah, but anyway, so I think I need to get a little more back than that. I see the upside. Like, I'm not saying it's the worst trade ever, but
no.
I would not do that.
Essentially, it's a harsh way to look at it, but you're trading Domantas Sabonis for Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah.
But you're trading Domantas Sabonis and his money that you're getting off of for Jonathan Kuminga, which we don't want to pretend that weighs a factor, but in the current landscape of trades and how scared money everybody is around the league, to get a team to take on, what is it? It's 46 next year, it's $45.4 million next year, $48.6 million the final year of Domantas Sabonis' contract. You're getting off of over $90 million of guaranteed salary, and you're getting the young player in return. I just think it better kickstarts the rebuild for this team, which is ultimately what Scott Perry's trying to do. And I hear what you're saying about, well, you traded Halliburton for Sabonis and blah, blah, blah. But Perry's not responsible for any of that. It's the same way if you dump Zach Lavine.
But there's still value. You still have that much value in the guy that you have
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And you run the risk of maybe when there's only 1 year left on Sabonis' deal and he's an expiring contract and maybe the apron system's been figured out a little bit more, maybe you could get more value for Domas.
Mm-hmm.
But are you willing to wait that long and delay the rebuild potentially for that long and not get Kuminga?
Sunday I got a call, from Jerry Reynolds, and he was calling to. He said, I just want to make sure you're doing okay after the 49er game.
I was going to ask you
about
that.
That's nice of Jerry.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
It was. But then we were talking, of course, about the Kings, and he's not necessarily in a hurry, long story short, to trade Sabonis.
I don't know if the Kings are either.
Yeah. He's like, they're going to trade him. That's going to create some problems because he's pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, again, this is what we're coming to now because there's nothing being done realistically right now in the NBA when it comes to trades. So it's like we got to make up our own trades until something does happen.
You know who I would never trade is Alan Stiles.
So
he's an untouchable.
Do we have time yet to get Alan's take on this trade? Has he even heard the trade yet?
He lives for this.
Alan loves himself.
I feel like he's had to have heard this.
So while he's getting his headphones connected,
lay out the trade real quick so we can get his answer.
I will say I agree. To some extent, I think the Kings feel the same way that Jerry feels. I don't think the Kings feel rushed to move on from Domantas Sabonis. I don't think they do. I think they view him as someone that can be a positive part of the start of the rebuild going forward.
If they really love the 7th pick in the 2021 draft, I can see how they would do it. I don't love him as much.
You are allowed to say his name on this show.
Oh, okay.
For the record. So here was you love a fake trade. We stole the Alan Stiles model. I actually texted him this morning. I was like, hey, I'm just going to steal your bit. Is that okay? Yeah. Actually, this was a fan or a viewer that proposed this because of the loss of Jimmy Butler in old Golden State. It's just a straight no picks involved, players for players swap. DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis to Golden State, and you get Jimmy Butler and his $56 million of dead money, and you get Jonathan Kuminga. It's just straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, nay, hooray.
Yeah. I voted no unless I get some.
Don't influence.
Yeah. The issue...
You can't influence him.
A lady.
Right. The issue is, to me, it's Jimmy.
Yeah.
But you are losing... DeMar and Kuminga kind of cancel out. So, to me, it's the Jimmy Sabonis thing. I guess in a cross-connecting way. You're getting 1 year less. You're paying Jimmy more, but you're getting 1 year less for Sabonis...
It jumpstarts the rebuild because, again, you've got dead bodies.
So Jimmy,
here.
a lot of people wanted Jimmy earlier, and I
don't think Jimmy really ever plays for the Kings.
He never
plays. He does maybe a tiny bit.
Right, because next year he would be expiring.
Right. They just pay him to stay at home.
Yeah, I would do it. I would do anything.
Yeah.
Alan's like, just do it.
I would. This is a bad time to ask me anything because I'll just say yes to anything.
We don't have time to hash this out, but Whitey, we'll talk about this off air because I pitched to Alan Stiles between our two shows. We should each present a fake trade to each other and force each other to react to them on our own shows and just have fun with that bit until the trade deadline. But for now. What's coming up on your guys' show today?
Today we're going to break down all the names that are suddenly being linked to the Kings and why all of a sudden, as you said, the Warrior injury to Jimmy Butler is perhaps changing things completely for Sacramento going forward.
And Whitey has to talk about that Niner game, if we can even call it that. Well, that's coming up next. Whitey Gleason, Alan Stiles. It's the Drive Guys taking you up to Kings game night and pre-game. And then we got Kings and Heat in action tonight inside the Golden One Center. Kayla and I will be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Peace.
Good day, my lady.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe.